walk-on headquarters, so
Oh, right next to the little thing.
where Co-op Bookstore used to be.
So not the restaurant, the headquarters?
Right.
That sounds like a serious meeting.
It's supposed to be a pretty cool place. I've never been.
They have, they're like all the chicks who used to work there, they're like old now. They're like retired in
Yeah,
the building.
I think that's how it works.
Yeah.
It's a retirement community.
Yeah. Shuffleboard everywhere.
606, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Good morning, everybody. Brian here with you. Taylor Sharp producing. We are off and running on this Thursday morning, and it's going to be a busy one. Yeah, we're going to talk a lot of COVID-19. Yeah, we're going to talk about tropical depression, Fred. But we're also going to talk a lot of business as well. Patrick Gremillion, host of the Patty G Show, going to be in at 6:35. Got a couple of different topics to talk about from a business perspective with Patty G, not the least of which is supply-side issues are still very, very real in Baton Rouge. But also want to talk about mobility. Mobility as you continue to pivot throughout the pandemic. That's at 6:35. In the 7 o'clock hour, let's continue to talk about business and business confidence. It took a hit in July, but where are we midway through August, or almost midway through August? Dawn McVea heads up the National Federation for Independent Business, Louisiana and Mississippi chapters. Basically, small business is her deal, and she's going to talk with us at 7:15 about where we're at right now. What are some of the main concerns? What is holding business back from just exploding at this point in the pandemic? Is the pandemic itself or the peripheral issues? So that's coming your way at 7:15, 7:35. Crimestoppers. For our Crimestoppers segment today, we team up with the folks from iCare. iCare does a great job in our schools in East Baton Rouge Parish of, being a little more proactive about spotting potential crime, potential danger spots. Cito Narcisse is the superintendent for schools in East Baton Rouge Parish. He's going to be our guest for the Crimestoppers segment today. 8 o'clock hour, Rowdy Guadet from the Metro Council is going to hop on board at 8:15. The Metro Council pushed back the possibility of voting on a new construction or a new project moratorium. They were looking at a building moratorium. As Baton Rouge is battling with flood zones and getting ourselves to a point where it doesn't flood when we get 2 inches of rain, as that's continued to be looked at, Ascension Parish has looked at a moratorium on new developments. Iberville Parish, another moratorium on potential new developments. What about here in East Baton Rouge? You're talking about a ton of land, a ton of area, a ton of potential new developments. You're talking about a ton of landowners possibly being told what they can and can't do on their property. Well, it was debated or discussed, I should say, at last night's Metro Council meeting, and it's been pushed back. What I'd like to talk with Councilman Rowdy Guadet about is how close are we to actually seeing this come to fruition, and what would be needed to get it through? Because there is, I like to be clear, totally against it, but there is validity to the argument that says, as a whole, as a parish or a city parish, I mean, it's bad out there. We've all been through floods. We're on the 5-year anniversary of the flood of 2016. It was just a couple months ago that we had a ridiculous overnight flood in Baton Rouge, and we never know when it's going to happen next. And while there's being money allocated to fixing things, there's going to be rain between now and then, so what do we do? We'll talk with Rowdy about all that at 8:15. 8:35, WBRZ's chief meteorologist, Dr. Josh Eachus, is going to hop on board to talk about tropical depression. Fred, and also another little yellow X that's in the middle of the Atlantic. Do we need to worry about either of these, Fred? The answer is probably no. That little yellow X, possibly. Possibly. We'll talk with Dr. Josh Eachus at 8:35. Starting things off, though, before we hit our first break. Oh, and of course, we'll have top stories and trending. Of course, we'll have the outside in. Of course, Taylor will have this day in history. Before we hit that first break, though, yesterday's COVID-19 numbers, 5,408 new cases, 55 new deaths. The number of COVID patients in the hospital bumped up by about 20-something to 2,895. 373 of those are on ventilators. Here in Region 2, we are looking at 21 ICU beds remaining. As we've talked about on numerous occasions, the number of ICU beds is not static. That can fluctuate a little bit, but also so does the care that goes along with it. We learned on Monday that over Our Lady of the Lake, as they've had to adapt to this recent surge in hospitalizations, they've added ICU beds, but staffing's still a problem. So you can add ICU beds, but the care is not as intensive as the acronym would suggest. They went from 1 nurse per 2 beds to 1 nurse per 4. So the more ICU beds you add, the less intensive that care is. Coming up with 612 at Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Saints Camp rolls on. We will hear a little bit of audio from camp in our next segment. Also, got a couple of other sports stories we want to touch on. That's all coming your way next on Talk 107.3 FM.
First live is Beef Council.
Gotcha.
So that's the first break. That's like one of the only ones that's not hard.
That's so good.
Yeah. Like the next one is you have to be out at 6:20.
It gets better, baby. Beef Council.
Yes, sir.
Kill my mic for a second. When you make a cheeseburger. Hey, there I am. Morning, Clinton. What's happening, dude? Coffee mug, Clinton. Coffee mug. Hit me up. It's yours.
I like that movie. I know you could have given me 100 guesses and I wouldn't have said that was the movie I love.
Yeah.
It looks good. I just thought it would have looked like the outside of that book.
Ah, son of a biscuit.
Tell you what, it was a good idea to have me do my sketch show first. So the shows are so easy now. Because I've done this show. The other ones are so easy.
We said that. That's like running this board.
Yeah.
Every other, like, me and Moscona are the toughest ones in the building. Oh.
I gotta do this shit tomorrow, and then that's probably possible. It's supposed to end on traffic, but sometimes you have these 10-second things.
You could have left that playing underneath. You got 16, 17, and 18 here?
Markling Van Camp sound like thugs.
Right. This ain't thuggish. It's clubbish. 6:15. Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Saints practicing in pads this morning. Tomorrow, they will leave for Baltimore. Going to play the Ravens, first preseason game of the year. You can catch it on our sister station, Eagle 98.1, your home for Saints football all season long. No word yet on who's going to start at quarterback for that game. Taysom Hill says he's been benefiting by getting a lot of reps at quarterback in practice.
I think every day, my comfort level of getting out, seeing things, and making quick decisions just gets better and better. And that's all about experience, all about getting reps. And as I look back to historical, the camps that I've been in the past to this one, that's what really sticks out to me. But it's been a rep thing.
Yeah, they're getting equal reps, and we hear daily about who's doing better between Taysom and Jameis. Snap by snap, for crying out loud. I'm hard-pressed to still believe it's going to be Taysom Hill at quarterback, especially when you consider that he right now is, one of the top 2 or 3 receivers on the board. I mean, can you really pull him away from all the other positions on the field? Unless you want to line Jameis out at wide out or tight end. Not going to happen? Okay, no, we'll move on.
I hear he does have sticky hands. So.
Hey! Come on now. Go bring up that man's past like that. Hill says he's having a lot of fun during his training camp because he's practicing at the quarterback position.
As I look at my career in the NFL, the ultimate opportunity and goal was to be in this situation, to have the opportunity to play quarterback. And so as I look back at other training camps, reps were so limited, and now I'm having the opportunity to get reps and see so many different things, and I think that my progression as a quarterback has been really good.
Which is fantastic, and I'm glad there's an actual battle going on here. I mean, what happens this weekend is not going to determine anything. I mean, it's game 1 of the preseason, and even though it's a shorter preseason, it's still game 1 of the preseason. So you're going to see both guys. Doesn't matter which one starts. You're going to see both guys. And, oh, by the way, who are they throwing to? Marquez Callaway is now like a big thing. Michael Thomas is on the shelf for an indeterminate period of time between recovering from surgery and who the heck knows what else. Ankle injury, by the way. Callaway has emerged as one of the top performers during this training camp. Hill says Callaway is taking advantage of his opportunities.
I would say I saw that last year from him as a rookie. And now, Mike is banged up, and he's had an opportunity to continue to step up, and more opportunities presented for himself, and he's just picking up where he left off.
Saints will kick off in Baltimore, the game will kick off 6 p.m. Saturday, like I said on our sister station, Eagle 98.1. I'm loving the way this preseason the first weekend of preseason is mapping out. Tonight you got football team. Yeah, football team is on the road at New England. That's a 6:30 kickoff. Steelers are at the Eagles. Also had to scroll, look a little bit closer there. Steelers and Eagles, also a 6:30 kickoff. The football team at Patriots, I believe, is on the NFL Network. Tomorrow, there are 3 games slated. Titans at Falcons, Bills at Lions. Taylor's Cowboys will be at the Cardinals. And then the rest of everybody else, I believe, plays Saturday. Got one Sunday game as well. Yeah, just about everybody else plays Saturday, and then the weekend rounds out with the Panthers at the Colts on Sunday. So that is your NFL slate. We are due up for another quick break. When we come back, let's talk vaccines a little bit. The numbers continue to rise. That fully vaccinated number is still a lagging indicator, but we'll break that down next. Here's the Fox Business Report. I was supposed to do beef council there. Yeah. Well, I'll get it on the back end. Shit. Wine.
Wines taste remedies.
Remedies? What, like weed?
First thing that pops up.
Hey, I bet. Morning, Christy. Welcome in, sweetheart. My wife sent me a TikTok this morning. It's pretty damn hilarious.
Here we go. Filet carpaccio.
That's what we're supposed to have tomorrow is filet carpaccio.
From Iverstein Farms. Iverstein Farms filet.
Boom. Digging it, digging it. Clinton says I can come get it from you at guarantee after our fiscal year closeout. I mean, you're going to need coffee before that, dude.
And then after a minute and a half.
Are you one of the millions of homeowners who haven't refinanced yet? If so,
You'll hear it because it'll go off. Like it won't keep playing. Once it gets a minute and a half, it'll go off.
may be in our rearview mirror as the economy recovers from the biggest economic shock of our lifetime. Rates still remain near historic
It
lows.
gets better, baby.
Increase in home values, this may be the perfect time to put that new home equity to work. Take advantage of our cash out
I do like that song.
and pay off high rate credit cards, car loans, or other high interest rate debt.
Solid.
Finally make those home improvements you put on hold for so long. That's the
I was listening to it while I was running yesterday. It's too short. It's exactly 3 minutes long.
Yeah. I guess with a song like that, though, when you switch beats up, at some point they're like, "No, we're out of beats."
Yeah. We've been on the shelf for 7 years, 6 years, whenever they had people that were mauled at their concert.
The people that were what?
They had a concert. This is why they broke up in the first place.
I never heard this story.
Yeah, they had a concert that was so overrun, so overcrowded. It was like a bunch of people got hurt.
So like a giant mosh pit.
More like when you'd see like at a soccer match where they had too many people in there and they just all.
Yeah. I didn't know they rolled like that.
They had another incident where their pyrotechnics caused a couple $1 million in damage.
A guy was arrested. It wasn't here. No exchange for using 80 pounds of explosives at his gender reveal party.
Saw that.
I don't know where it was.
Oklahoma, I think.
Probably. I mean, there's nothing else to do in Oklahoma. Where's Patrick?
Do what?
He's usually here by now.
No, he'll get here in the during this segment. Oh wait, can you go let him in? Just
Yeah, he'll be the back door. The door you came in on. The back door, that's the front door.
This report is brought to you by Shawbills, where you can get up to $100 off install with the purchase of 14 Bridgestone or Firestone tires. Visit Shawbills Tire.
is it Grant? Grant.
Yeah, I forgot to. Jeremy was the one who scheduled the point stuff.
Really?
I knew that.
Because that was a thing.
Yep.
625 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. All right, let's talk vaccinations. The numbers are continuing to bump up, but they are still lagging when it comes to those who are fully vaccinated. The recent push in vaccinations has not yet had the chance to match or coincide with being fully vaccinated. There's a 3-week gap that we're going to continue to see 4 weeks if you're Moderna, 3 weeks if you're Pfizer. Johnson & Johnson's one and done, but most people are getting Pfizer or Moderna. Right now, the CDC is urging pregnant women to get vaccinated, citing mounting numbers of severe cases among soon-to-be moms. First couple go-rounds, the first surges of COVID, we didn't see this, but as we've been told repeatedly the last few weeks, everything's different with the Delta variant. LSU Health New Orleans Chief of Maternal Fetal Health, Dr. Robert Mopan, says pregnant women who develop COVID are 3 times more likely to end up in the ICU than non-pregnant women.
The death rates from COVID for women who are pregnant are higher than for women who get COVID who are not pregnant.
Ochsner reports 11 pregnant women are currently hospitalized in their system. None of them are vaccinated, by the way. Mopan says some good news is it doesn't appear infected mothers can transmit the virus to their fetuses, but their babies. But they are seeing a number of newborns getting infected by the family shortly after birth.
They expose the newborn and put the newborn at serious risk.
Only 23% of pregnant women are vaccinated, according to the CDC. Mopan says mothers' fear of taking a vaccine, says they don't understand it, but it's understandable. Like, it doesn't make logical sense, but you get where the fear comes from. The shot, however, is, as we've been told repeatedly, proven safe and effective.
There's a much greater risk of not taking the vaccine versus taking the vaccine. And the good news is the data we have thus far doesn't show any excess side effects or complications for pregnancy outcomes or for pregnant moms.
As it stands right now, more than 2 million people in Louisiana have begun their vaccination series. As it stands right now, 3.7 million doses have been doled out, which I don't understand why they even keep count on that number. I would like to just know how many people have started, how many people have finished. Are there people that are dropping off? They're getting 1 dose and then bailing? Is that a thing? By the way, 1.755 million have completed. First and second shot. Boom, boom, boom. They're done. Waiting to be told that, well, you got to go back and get a booster, which could very well be in the works, but we're not there yet. So you got 2.090 million initiated, 1.755 fully vaccinated. So by my count, that is, what, just over 300,000 that are in the works right now? That's just over 300,000 who are in that waiting period between shot 1 and shot 2, unless for some reason you took shot 1 and you just decided you're done, which makes 0 sense to me. If you're looking at it by age group, it's kind of ridiculous. Those who are over the age of 60 are dominating this box score, if you will. There are 367,889 people 60 to 69 years old vaccinated, fully vaccinated, and only 118,517 who are not vaccinated at all. Over the age of 70, 376,371 versus 43.8 who are unvaccinated. Your percentage numbers, the older you get, the vaccinations are going through the roof. The biggest gap here is age 5 to 17, which obviously only the top half of that age group is eligible for the vaccine at 12 to 17. That's the biggest gap here, and I'm not even looking at 0 to 4 because they can't play. They can't get in this game. 5 to 17 is the first category where you can, and it is 52,446 Louisianans under the age of 17 have been vaccinated. And it staggers up from there when you break it down by age group. Interestingly enough, when you break it down by race, percentage-wise, white people and black people are about on the same pace. And I looked this up over the weekend, so it might need to be updated from Monday till today. But African Americans are 33% fully vaccinated. White people are 34% fully vaccinated. Other races, 183,439 fully vaccinated, and only 41,000 not even starting the process yet. So, breakdown-wise, that's pretty, or racially, when you look at the racial breakdown, it's pretty even from start to finish. All right, we are due up for a break. Hey, tomorrow's going to be Foodie Friday presented by the Louisiana Beef Industry Council. Can't wait for this one. We've covered a lot of ground on Foodie Friday, talking beef all summer long, all throughout the grilling season, Memorial Day to Labor Day. You know what we haven't done yet, though? We haven't talked wine pairings with that beef. Blend is going to be in the house tomorrow. I believe they're bringing some filet carpaccio, maybe a few other things as well, but might talk a little bit about wine. In the morning, it's not even the Jada Cody show. Yeah, we'll break it down. Beef Industry Council bringing you Foodie Friday tomorrow. Beefitswhatsfordinner.com is the website if you want to check it out, get some recipes and some nutritional information. Here's CBS News. Oh, what up?
What's happening, man?
Nothing at all, dude. Yeah. Facebook's algorithm's a bitch. Really? Plus, it gives us more video, OTT video possibilities.
What are we talking about?
We're talking about why I can't find Casamigos tequila anywhere.
Castamigos tequila.
Yeah. So good. Clooney's brand. No, we're talking about privacy concerns with celebrities. We're talking about supply side problems amidst the pandemic, and we're talking about, what was the third one? Where do you want to go with the celebrity thing?
So the celebrity thing, we can go at it from the two angles. One, the fascination surrounding why we want to know where these celebrities live.
How does that affect business?
Because if you're scared to get to that level, is that a mental roadblock for some people?
Okay.
I don't want to grow so big because then I might put a target on my back for something I did 10, 20 years ago.
Peg you for examples.
Okay.
Because I don't think that crosses over to the business world very often.
Okay.
I think that's more like athletes and actors.
It is.
Not a hard break.
You're going to be Mark Cuban.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I guess it is more of a sports actors, actresses.
Yeah. Or like, we could talk about it though, because there's not enough crossover between business and
Yeah,
that world. I mean, you look at the level you've got to be at from a business person to reach that, and it's like Zuckerberg, Mark Cuban, well, Todd Graves.
Yeah.
But so many people have like something else on their resume that promotes them to that spot as well.
True.
I don't know that it was always like that though.
What do you mean?
Did he use his own rap? Tagged himself in the rap and then tagged himself on the news? All right.
What do you mean it wasn't always like that?
Our absolute obsession
Yeah.
with celebrity.
Well, so it's the absolute obsession with celebrity and for some reason their salary.
Yeah.
So, like, why don't we write articles about all of that? Brian Haldane got a bonus of $5,000. What is he going to spend his money on?
Tuition.
Big league cheers.
Big League Chew.
Yeah, for sure.
What up, T-Bob?
Trust me, Brian makes a smart investment. If he didn't go with that, I'm going to be disappointed.
You see Miles Brennan's Smoothie King commercial?
No.
It's up on YouTube now.
Holding the cup in his good arm.
Yeah, they make a cocktail now. It's where you don't need both hands.
No, he actually throws the pineapple with his good hand.
Does he?
Yeah.
That's the benefit of having a non-throwing arm injury.
He throws the pineapple. Yeah. It's one of the only completions he's going to have this year. So.
I don't know. Still blows my mind. They're gonna pay him even though he's off the bench.
He'll take over.
Brian will disagree for days, but
No, I won't. He's injured.
he was going to be on the bench.
There's no way to quantify that. There's no way you can know. It's a hypothetical.
Coming in hot.
I'm not even saying he was the guy. I'm just saying we're never going to get to find out who was going to be the guy.
You think he was the guy by default?
No.
Or supposed to be
No.
the guy by default?
He has seniority. He's got the class load that allows him to pay more attention to it. But, I mean, Max Johnson went 2-0 because of a stupid shoe. And a complete lack of defense by Ole Miss. But nonetheless, every time he was also drawn and quartered against Missouri. He was also, that team developed as the course of the year played out.
I'd argue they were worse. Talent-wise, they were worse.
No, talent-wise, they were thinner. They weren't worse. No. Why? They're not going to name one? Oh, good.
After that 31 break, you always put so you put weather at the beginning of the show, and then you play the bottom of every hour, so every 30 mark. Okay. So in that 30 mark with the CBS News is, that's where you play. So you go CBS News, local weather, break, this, and then you come back. Okay. Yes. Yeah, this is a long break. This is like a 6-minute break. Typically we have somebody in the studio usually, so it just
Did I put you in contact with Claire?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We got a date lined up.
Okay.
So, I think it's funny looking at Miles's social media, how it changed so rapidly. So, he's got all this posts about LSU.
and then fishing gear.
Nope. Canes, game share, Ford trucks. That's it. This has totally changed how he posts on his social media.
I mean, that's how you make the money, though, man.
Is it, though, long term?
Ooh, that's a conversation.
Right now. 638, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. He's not the OG. He's not the new G. He's Patty G. Patrick Gremillion, host of the Patty G Show. What's happening, dude?
Good morning, Brian. I like that intro.
It's what I'm sending off to the voice guy.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I like it. It's new. It's a nice twist.
I appreciate that. We're going to have it down real soon.
Look at that.
I know.
Taylor and Old Dog can learn new tricks.
What? We've got a lot of ground to cover in this segment, but in the break leading up to the segment, we decided we were going to abandon all that ground. We could talk supply side issues in a little bit. We could talk mobility in just a little bit.
Yes.
But we've got to start off with our culture's absolute obsession with celebrity, how that's translated into influencers, and how that's translated into where we're at right now with name, image, likeness. I know we've had the NIL conversation before, but you brought up something during the break that I'm super intrigued by, and I believe is going to backfire long term.
Yeah, so what we were talking about during break was how these people have this obsession with celebrities and business people and sports athletes in particular.
Right.
It's a person, but we I don't know if it's idolize them, but we're just
Close.
We're close. When you look at LSU sports, some people get real close to idolizing some of these players.
Yes.
And it's like, are you living vicariously through them? What is the root of why we do this?
Right.
So much so that we like to know how much the coaches are making and where they're living.
Right.
And so then it kind of gets on this conversation of, well, are we really supposed to know this? Like,
good
is
question.
it like are we going too far at the spectrum when we start writing articles about people's homes? And how much the price tag was?
Sports Illustrated comes out with the article every year about ranking the coaches' salaries in college football. We know, but there's something to be said for a public figure's salary being public.
Mm-hmm.
If any of those dollars are public, that should translate into transparency.
Right.
But not all of the dollars that go into a coach's salary come from like the university fund. Most of it comes from other sources, and yet we still know exactly what Ed Ogeron makes. We know exactly what Kim Mulkey makes. We know exactly what Will Wade or the new baseball coach Jay Johnson. We know these salaries, and yeah, like you said, we know where they live most of the time. Like nobody, everybody in Baton Rouge can drive up Highland and tell you where Nick Saban used to live. He hasn't lived here in over a decade, but we all know where he used to live. Like it's a weird thing. But now we're seeing this trickle down from beyond grown-ups with NIL, with name, image, and likeness money. This is trickling down into the student athlete as well.
Yeah, now you got these student athletes that are capitalizing on their name, image, and likeness, which, you know, go for it. That's now you're able to capture that pre-going pro. What I think is going to run into is maybe some jealousy among some of the students by who deals with who gets what contract. Now, is it going to be a motivator that pushes them even further? Maybe. But you also posed a question during the break of, will this be sustainable for these athletes?
What? So Miles Brennan is probably the best example right now because so many people flocked to him from the start.
Right.
You had the truck dealership.
Yeah, Robertson Brothers Ford.
You had Smoothie King was another big one, and Raising Cane's was another big one. And then all of a sudden, Miles Brennan breaks his non-throwing arm, so he's on the shelf. So got to ask the question of the sustainability, because where is the draw? Where is the appeal? Do I follow Miles Brennan because he's selling chicken, or do I follow Miles Brennan because of what he does in the football field? And if all of a sudden my Instagram feed starts filling up with ads,
right,
instead of football, am I going to bail on this? Do I have a reason to stop following the athlete because the athlete is no longer doing what I followed them for doing?
And here's a prime example of that. If you look at Miles Brennan's Instagram, he's got 2 videos on there within the last year. One of them has 110,000 views. It's of him prepping, doing workouts, getting ready for the season.
Yeah.
The next one is of him getting ready for the game day, walking into the locker room and everything.
Right.
That's got 42,000
That's
views.
what I'm here for.
That's what you're here for. You look at the Instagram reel of Robertson Brothers Ford, you got 3,000.
Yeah. Yeah. And that 3,000 is only because Miles Brennan's name's attached to it.
Right.
But if all I'm seeing of Miles Brennan is him driving a truck or drinking a smoothie, what do I care?
Is that what you're there for? Are you there to watch him sell ads, which are the last 3 posts of his Instagram? It's now just an ad by Cane's, ad by Game Share.
To be fair, though, he's not practicing right now.
Well, I know.
To be completely fair, poor kid's on the shelf.
True, he is on the shelf. So then how do you, as an athlete, if you get injured and you've got this NIL contract lined up, how do you maintain your followers' interest and still capitalize on the dollars?
Right. Even if you're not injured.
Even if you're not injured.
I mean, especially if you're not injured. Like, how much attention are you paying towards, when it comes to your followers, not even the game on the field? Because obviously everyone in college has to have that game on the field tight, because NIL dollars in college pale in comparison to professional contract dollars. So if you're given some scratch now, it's not it's enough to get you by, but it's not going to make you rich. It's not going to be sustainable long term for your entire career. You still need those pro dollars. You still want those pro dollars.
Right.
But if I'm following you, then what am I really doing here? I don't need to see you drinking a smoothie. And I love Smoothie King, but I don't need to see Miles Brennan drink a smoothie or whomever else they sign along the way.
Yeah, that's, in my opinion, that's where you get the businesses posting that type of content, not that individual.
Right.
You get Smoothie King blowing up and pushing Miles Brennan drinking their smoothies.
Right.
The ad they just made with Miles Brennan that's live on YouTube now, where he's in the store throwing a pineapple, dicing it up, and actually blending a smoothie, that needs to be Smoothie King's push.
Right.
That's where they need to come in and push it across their platforms and their outlets. Not Miles Brennan. Let him keep posting about LSU and let people still keep loving him and feeling that LSU good feel and that flair that he brings to the table with his social media platforms.
Exactly.
Now when you see a Smoothie King commercial, you're like, oh my gosh, that's Miles Brennan. I see his stuff on his personal page. I love him so much more. Not, oh, it's Miles Brennan drinking a smoothie on his page.
So the moral of the story here is raise up the business's profile, not dilute the athlete's profile.
Correct. I think that's a longer sustainable
And
play.
social media is so like invasive and just it's everywhere.
Yeah.
That it's inescapable. But because it's inescapable, our attention spans get shorter, our patience with this gets shorter, so we can cut the cord and unfollow whenever we feel like it,
If it's too
and that's
addy,
detrimental to the athlete.
if it's too addy and you're watching the athlete, you're not going to keep following them. You're not following them
I
for
hate being
ads.
sold things.
Yeah,
Give me value. Don't give me a sales pitch.
100%. That's why you got to look at marketing versus your advertising.
We got a break here. We're going to take a quick break. We'll check traffic. We'll check your money now. When we come back, there's still some supply side problems out there, specifically when it comes to liquor. We'll talk about it next on Talk 107.3.
I wanted to get you out early so you could hit.
Do what?
I wanted to get you out early so you could hit complete collision.
Ah, thank you.
That's your next bug.
I saw you lock down Mooyah. Oh, you added to the graphic reel.
Yeah.
Heck yeah, man.
Yep. Live reads. I'll be going there for lunch tomorrow.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I gotta try these sweet potato fries with honey.
Yes. Yes, you do.
Sweet potato fries with honey?
No, I've been to McVea 100 times, but I've never had that.
See, I've never been to Mooyah.
It's good. I go to the one in Denver.
So I've heard.
Me, Chuck,
I've heard.
me and Chuck are having lunch with Presonus tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, y'all are still working on that gig.
Yeah.
Well, still working on getting them to stop dragging their feet.
Oh, no. This is something else.
Yeah.
This was... I came up with an idea.
Brian came up with an idea.
Yeah. And it might involve teaming Presonus up with Rebel Graphics through something that could be lucrative. But I'm not talking about it out loud until
Good idea.
I think so.
Good idea.
Very niche, but very profitable.
Yeah, I mean, you've got an opportunity within here to make those two combinations. I mean, I have no idea what it is you're doing.
There you go.
This one, no. Now, this break typically goes up to your money now.
Yeah, y'all been busting it between you running mornings and nights.
So we got that. We got a 1 minute break.
It's only 2 days a week, but at the same time, like, when I'm done here, I'm nowhere near done.
Yeah.
My fourth grader has cross-country practice. I'm still getting the workouts in because I want to do that 100 and 100 and actually get there. When I did it the first time around, I got, I think it was 92 out of 100. I know.
So
I
close.
know. I'll take it. I feel like that's a pretty
That's
decent.
still a win.
There's never another 100 days where I've got 92 workouts in.
Yeah.
I'm off by 2 right now, but you can make it up and do 2 in a day, and it still counts. I'm off by 2 right now, but I'm determined to get this, and it's just it's wearing me out.
I bet. So how have you found from shifting platforms? How have y'all found the engagement?
Engagement's off a little bit, to be sure. The numbers are down a little bit, but not by. When you look at what was happening with our Facebook views and Facebook reach, it's worth the trade-off to be able to build the platform from something. Got your money now coming your way in just a little bit. Enough for me to tell you about the folks over at Complete Collision Center. Look, if you're in an accident, you need to decide pretty quickly where your car is going to be taken care of, because if you leave this up to your insurance company, they're going to send you someplace that's best for them, not necessarily safest for you. If you want your car repaired back to the way it came off the assembly line, Complete Collision Center is the way to go. 2 locations, Plank Road in Zachary or Perkins just east of Bluebonnet. They are certified by more than a dozen major car manufacturers. They also have the iCar Gold Class certification. What does that mean? Well, not enough time to tell you about it the whole way through here. Just enough time to tell you, go to CompleteCollision.com to learn more. CompleteCollision.com. Don't let who you choose to repair your vehicle be your second accident. Check out Complete Collision Center.
I can't find y'all. Can't find Talk 107.3.
No, go Brian Haldane. We're doing it under our individual names, which I don't know if I'm on board with, but that's the way they're doing it on 104.5.
That plays for 2 minutes. Okay. And then it's a 1 minute update, a 1 minute commercial spot.
Ooh.
Okay. Okay, cool.
Man, I'm getting bashed.
Why?
Lee Caraway.
Who's that?
I have no idea.
My doctor told me my blood pressure is borderline. I figured I could worry about it or do something about it. So I took control with Garlic formula. It works safely and naturally to help maintain healthy blood pressure with a custom blend of garlic, vitamins, and minerals. And it's odor-free. I'm taking charge with Garlic Healthy Blood Pressure Formula.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not
I'm guessing Lee is the latest iteration of the guy that I blocked yesterday.
What's his name?
Lee Caraway.
What was he yesterday, like captain or something?
Tugboat something? I don't know. I mean, as long as he's talking about the content, I have no problem with him, but I guarantee you it's going to turn to something personal and graphic in a minute.
Okay.
Because that's the way it plays out every day.
He actually knows about the show, though.
Yeah.
Because he talked about Automated Pizza Guy. Speed Bancroft, yeah.
All right, here we go, fellas.
Yeah, as long as it stays legit and it stays about the content, that's fine. I don't censor opinions or censor. You'd have to hear what happened anyway. 652 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Got the CBS World News Roundup coming your way in just a little while. Actually, 7.5 minutes from right now. Shifting gears here as we got Patrick Gremillion in talking business with the host of the Patty G Show. Headline at the Daily or at the Business Report: Baton Rouge beer and liquor companies concerned over a bottle and can shortage. Now, it hasn't impacted anybody locally yet.
Right, but they say they're concerned if
But-
it continues.
Right. So what are we looking at here?
I mean, from my understanding from reading the article, we're looking at a bottle design shortage. So people that have their local distilleries have specific designs, right? They said that Three Roll Estate would have to look into changing their bottle design to still allow for flexibility in their product.
I don't understand why.
I
Like,
think
don't-
because they can produce, if they get a uniform bottle for multiple distilleries, then they can distribute more. But changing the production to design a different bottle, I'm guessing. I mean, I don't really understand bottle making,
So,
but
labor shortages and the sudden reopening of many bars, supply chain issues with polyvinyl, I don't even know that word, a critical material for laminated glass, is helping to spur a nationwide glass shortage, according to the U.S. Glass News Network. So we've seen supply problems so far. We've seen supply problems before. This sounds like a different supply side problem in that it's not necessarily a labor shortage, but a material shortage.
well, it sounded like it was twofold. It sounded like it was a labor shortage, which then inadvertently caused the material shortage. So they don't have enough people to make the bottles.
Okay.
I mean, that's the way the article was reading.
And this can trickle all the way down to Three Roll Estate, or
Yeah.
the headline says bottles and cans.
Yeah, bottles and cans. So,
So is this going to affect Rowdy
distilleries.
Cap or Tin Roof or anybody? I mean, a can is a can is a can, is it not?
Right, but the article goes on to read that it's being bought up and consumed by Coke and Pepsi, your soft drinks
Right.
manufacturers. So they went and had the capital to buy up just pallets on pallets of cans, whereas the micro distilleries, the micro breweries may not have that luxury.
Interesting.
So they've got to buy it as they need it.
Interesting. I can tell you that when I go in the grocery store, there are a few labels that are missing off the shelf right now. Had no idea why.
Like few labels as in few beverages, or
No, like names of or brands of. Okay, perfect example. My wife and I love Casamigos tequila.
okay,
I have yet to go back and look for it again, but about 2 weeks ago, I was looking for a bottle. I went to like 6 different grocery stores, could not find it
Really?
anywhere. I went to 2 different liquor stores, could not find it either. I asked at both of the liquor stores. I'm not going to ask at the grocery store. That's like asking for advice at Home Depot. But I asked at the liquor store, unless you're at Calandros or Matherns, those at Matherns, is, especially when it comes to the craft beers.
that's right.
Anyway, we'll get back to that later on. But I asked at the 2 liquor stores that I went to, I said, what's the deal with this? They didn't even know. And
Really?
Yeah. So I wonder if this is connected, if this is the same story as that.
Maybe so. I mean, I know some bourbons or some whiskeys will have small releases, and so that's why you can't find it.
Right.
But
This is
a
tequila.
okay.
Yeah, this is tequila. It's not, and it's, I mean, it's really good. It's George Clooney's label.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Casamigos. So Christy and I just love it. I also like the Terramana, though. That's the one that The Rock puts out.
Yes.
He's super good, too.
I haven't gotten on tequila straight yet.
Not straight, more like a modified version of a ranch water is what we'll do. So,
Okay.
yeah,
I'll have to try it if I can find it in the stores.
quite refreshing throughout the summertime.
Hey, that's what you need, a refreshing drink. In the
Darn right. Hey, one more before we get you out of here, and it's also from the business report. The headline reads, "Mobility is key for these Baton Rouge area boutiques," and they go through a handful of them. When talking about mobility, we all think of food trucks, probably first and foremost, right?
Right, your restaurant on wheels.
Right. How does this apply to boutiques?
This applies to boutiques because they're able to use trailers and actually do their own pop-up shops without having a brick-and-mortar store. It's a lot less expensive to get a trailer and outfit it to what you need to then drive it around to different locations.
But to what end? Like, are you driving it to a place that already has a concentration of people?
I believe so. Or like they had in the article, they have this trailer, this boutique park that they're building with many vintage trailers where these small boutiques can go and set up their shop inside the trailers. So now it's like a mall, but it's outdoor using vintage trailers.
Where's this going to be?
It said Mid-City.
Is this Mid-City Mercantile?
No. It's
Okay.
Mid-City. I want to say it was like Mid-City Trailer Park or something.
Mid-City Trailer Park? That can't be right.
No.
We're going to look that one
right.
up.
I'm pulling it up right now.
We'll look that one up.
Urban Traders.
Oh, okay.
It's a retail park with leasable vintage trailers in Mid-City.
Okay, what baffles me about this, though, is it sounds like a mobile mall. Like,
Right,
we've gotten
that's
away
what it
from
sounds like.
We've gotten away from the mall as a shopping concept. In fact, we've knocked two of them down to build other things back up again. How is it that this would be any different than having, a mall where you've got like a Forever 21 and a Gap and all the other things? This would just be that, but on a trailer.
That's the way it reads. But my question comes in is, if these are leasable trailers, are they also movable trailers?
Right.
If I'm the boutique owner, can I take it and go bring it to trade shows? Can I take it and go bring it to events and fairs? A previous guest, Wanderlust by Abby, that's what she did. She started by selling out of a back old 4Runner, then got a big old truck that she would drive and park at places and roll up the back door, and people would go shopping on the inside of the truck.
Right. I could see taking your merchandise to a larger venue, yes, but the merchandise itself is not the venue.
Right.
That's what's coming up on the show.
This week we've got Speed Bancroft of Speedy Pizzas.
Speedy Pizzas? What is
It is
Speedy
a
Pizzas?
fully automated system that creates pizzas and delivers to you. Well, it delivers to you. It's like a vending machine. It's like a pizza vending machine, basically.
A pizza vending machine.
Pizza vending machine. You're going to download an app. You're going to order your pizza on the app. Walk up. It's going to be like a little terminal. You scan the barcode, and your pizza comes out at the bottom.
Already cooked?
Yeah, cooked, ready to go.
The vending machine with the pizza oven in it.
Right. It's going to go right in between Fred's and Reggie's.
Cool.
And
Okay.
You can pre-order ahead of time. So say you're leaving the bar or you're driving there at 11 o'clock. I want a pepperoni pizza at 11.
That dude's going
It'll
to
have
print
it-
money.
It'll have it sitting there ready to go.
Yeah, he's about to start just making bank left and right. He is Patrick Gremillion, host of the Patty G Show. He's in here every Thursday. We talk a little business about a number of different topics. And I always appreciate the time. Oh, for folks that don't know, where can you get the Patty G Show?
You can get the Patty G Show everywhere you get your podcast, on Spotify, TuneIn, Pandora, etc., and on every social media platform there is.
Love it. He'll be in next Thursday at the exact same time. In the meanwhile, we are due up for the CBS World News Roundup that's coming your way right now on Talk 107.3 FM.
And then you have to manually do it. So like at the top of the show, it comes on automatically, but every other time you have to do it. So, how do you do that? Oh, you just. Yeah, it comes up the same pod as the at the 30 mark. Okay. Yeah, and this plays for about 4 minutes. You just listen. They'll say 4 minutes or 5 minutes past the hour. Okay.
Yay.
What's so exciting?
This looks creepy.
What is it? He looks excited.
This is marked improvement from last year.
So what happened the other day on the show?
That guy started getting very, very sexual and graphic in nature in his comments, and it had nothing to do with the show, so I just blocked him.
Big fan of Murphy Paul.
Yeah. Yeah, he wanted me to ask Murphy Paul a question. I asked him a question. He said the answer was BS. I said, why? What makes you say that? Like, you have nothing to go off of with that. You just don't like his answer. And then it got sexual and graphic in nature after that, and I was like, I'm not playing along with this, so... Byron says there are several articles and studies that have been conducted regarding internet trolls. They have made me have pity for them rather than being irritated by them. Some serious mental issues at play. Oh, dude, yeah. Drink it straight. So I like drinking tequila straight. My wife likes to have a little bit of
A little like club soda or something, or
a little lime LaCroix.
Gotcha. Ooh, lime LaCroix.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
That's why it's a modified ranch water. It's like
Yeah.
it's like a ranch water, but
It's your homemade ranch water.
ha. Sonny says he better have a 24-hour security guard by that pizza machine. He'll be able to afford it for sure.
Basically, yeah, dude.
See, I read the okay, Lee says you both look like two needy 14-year-olds looking at the likes and comments. I read the comments because that's how we interact with the audience. We don't do a caller-driven show. Those days are long since gone. We take feedback on the show.
Yeah, you can like walk up. I think it's like a 3-minute or a 2-minute wait from the time you order your pizza if you don't use the app.
Wait, 3-minute wait?
I would have to use the app. I can't wait 3 minutes.
3 whole minutes to get your pizza? My word.
No, it's absurd.
What a fail.
It's absurd.
What a fail.
Take it back. I'm out.
He's not going to make bank.
I'm out. Yeah.
He's going to lose money, actually.
Galen wants to know, is the pizza machine from a franchise?
Like the pizza machine itself? Or
I
like
think
the
the
or the
cause,
pizza.
no?
Or the
Did the guy
pizzas.
invent the company, or did he buy into somebody else's stuff?
No, he invented it.
So it could...
It could
It
be
could lead to-
franchised
yeah.
out. Yeah, no, he straight up invented the system and everything like that. He's got a company called Bancroft Restaurant Automation Systems. So
Okay.
he's been designing different concepts and ideas.
I mean, he's obviously got the right location for the first one.
Yeah, this will be his. I think this will be his first tried and true installed.
Thing is, though, he can't wait on people to order. He's got to pump out smells beforehand.
So he has.
Because if that hits you as soon as you walk out,
So he's got a blower that like circulates the vent, that circulates the heat in there.
That's
And he said they're gonna have a feature in there that the blower is actually blowing that scent outside of the machine. Kind of like what? Doesn't Acme Oyster do that?
I don't know.
Like right at I-10? Is that Acme?
Acme's the one on Acadian.
Yeah. Yeah, it's. I mean, it's.
Oh, so what is that place? Drago's. Is
Oh,
that
yeah.
Drago's in the corner.
Yeah, with the char grilled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You drive by there every time you're smelling something good.
Have you been in there yet?
Yeah.
It's might be the biggest restaurant in Baton Rouge. It's huge.
It used to be a Blockbuster Music.
It's now 3 Blockbuster movies. It's huge. I got lost back to my table going to the bathroom, man.
I haven't been to this one yet.
Oh,
They're from New Orleans. I've been down there.
I've been to that one, the one in the Marriott. Or
See,
whatever.
boss.
No, the one out in the east.
You buddy?
Be good.
7:05, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, hour 2 of Mornings with Brian Haldane coming your way right now. This hour, we're going to have Dawn McVea from NFIB. We're talking small business in our next segment. Small business optimism dipped in July. The headline reads, Small business optimism dips in July as labor shortage remains the biggest challenge. Well, to coincide with that, the enhanced unemployment benefits ended with the end of July. So here we are 12 days later. Do we have to wait until all the way through August to find out if we're seeing a return to this? We'll talk with Dawn in our next segment. Also, maybe get some report cards on how legislators did when it comes to small business in the last legislative session. Also this hour, Cito Narcisse is the superintendent of education for East Baton Rouge. He's going to be in for our Crimestoppers segment. Back to school time, and we bring on the folks from iCare roughly once a month or so. We talked to the folks from iCare, and Cito Narcisse will be their guest, so he will be my guest. That is all coming your way later on this hour. Right now, though, we start the hour off with top stories and trending. People living in the South Downs and University Gardens areas say they've been experiencing repeat power outages since Sunday. The outages have happened 4 days in a row for hours at a time. In fact, the one on Sunday, I believe, lasted about 8 hours. Entergy says over the past several days, residential customers in or around the South Downs area have been affected by a couple of different events. The first involved electric equipment, specifically a set of reclosures that were damaged by lightning. The second involved a tree limb that fell from outside of Entergy's right-of-way and damaged other electrical equipment nearby. That damage was extensive. New equipment's been installed in the area. A new reclosure will be hung this week. As part of the repair process, some customers have seen additional power outages. Entergy says they are sorry for the inconvenience they have caused. As this fourth surge of COVID has led to a steady increase in vaccinations, the spike is also leading to more people looking to get tested. Ochsner responding to that spike with a press conference yesterday where CEO Warner Thomas said, quote, testing has increased dramatically. We administered, for the week beginning August 8th, we administered about 15,800 COVID tests. Positivity rate, just under 20%. Each week, Ochsner says it has the capacity to administer 30,000 tests. More than half were already done since Sunday. Ochsner opened up a drive-through testing site at the old Runnels campus in Baton Rouge to help keep up with demand. By the way, of the nearly 16,000 tests taken, 3,096 have been in people 19 years and younger for that age group. The positivity rate is over 20% at 23.4, meaning that more than 700 people under the age of 19 tested positive through Ochsner this week alone. Capital Area Police were called to a North Baton Rouge residence in regards to a reported shooting that left one person injured yesterday morning. A representative with BRPD said officers were dispatched to the 4700 block of Lorraine Street, where a person was found with non-life-threatening injuries. The incident that caused the victim's injuries may have occurred at a different location, police added. Authorities are still investigating this shooting. So schools are looking to take some steps to help improve the LEAP scores that have fallen because of the COVID-19 pandemic. WBRC is reporting that navigating a pandemic with distance learning has made the past year a challenge for school districts across the state. Compared to 2019, this year's LEAP test results show a 5% drop in student achievement. Scores were rising in the spring of 2020 before COVID-19 shut schools down. Dr. Cade Brumley, who was on the show last week? Yes, on the show last week, announced a $132 million plan to put remediation programs in place to help struggling students. Quote, there's a learning stair step down as we move away from our schools, teachers, nutritional supports, and friends to move to fully virtual, Brumley said. Brumley says the loss in terms of math scores were about double that of English. Virtual students lagged 15% behind students who were able to learn in person. Those numbers, he said it on this show last week, those numbers very, very real. When you're not physically there, there is a significant drop-off, and they're working to remedy that. Narrowing in on 2,900 COVID-19 patients in the hospital. Louisiana's latest coronavirus surge pushed Louisiana hospitals even further yesterday. They keep inching closer and closer to capacity. As of Wednesday, 2,895 patients were in hospitals across the state. That's up 44 from the day before. The state says 91% of those patients currently in hospitals were not fully vaccinated for the virus. Department of Health added 373 of those patients are on ventilators. As we told you at the beginning of the show, another 5,408 cases of COVID-19 were announced yesterday. 55 deaths were reported statewide as well. That's a look at your top stories. Going to get you to trending in just a second. And before that, though, got to ask you what you're doing for lunch today. Can I interest you in a double Diablo? Okay. What about a well-donion? No, it's not a burger that's well done. It's a burger with onion strings on it. It's available at McVea Burgers, Fries, and Shakes, both locations of McVea Burgers, Fries, and Shakes. They've got the one on Segan that is just north of Industrialplex. They got another location on Bluebonnet at Highland. Both locations, you get the same great service. Both locations, you get the top quality, fresh ingredients. Fresh baked buns every day. They bake their potato buns every day. Fresh cut vegetables every single day. You know you're getting the best certified Angus beef as well, and it's all done with top-notch service. And, oh, by the way, download the McVea app. They've got deals in store for you if you download the app. They have got, among other things, pull this up real quick, free fries just for downloading the app to begin with. They've got specials that go on throughout the year. If you order through the app, this is a dirty little secret here. If you order through the app, you actually get it cheaper than if you were to order through DoorDash. So, specials on your birthday, specials throughout the year. The McVea app is available now, or just swing by for lunch. Segan, just north of Industrialplex, or Bluebonnet at Highland. McVea, burgers, fries, and shakes. All right, we're going to get to Dawn McVea on the back end of this break, but before we take the break, what is trending this morning? Well, Sony Pictures announced yesterday that a new host for Jeopardy has been selected and confirmed. The game show's executive producer, Mike Richards, will replace Alex Trebek. Also in the works are a series of ABC primetime specials and a potential Jeopardy spin-off series that will be hosted by Blossom. I just dated myself right there. Actress Mayim Bialik. After the final Trebek-hosted shows aired, the former Big Bang Theory star was a favorite of the guest hosts who temporarily took the reins and led contestants through the trivia quiz show. Richards, by the way, steps into the role of host amid praise from Sony, but criticism from some in the public eye for allegedly mistreating former colleagues when he was an executive producer over at The Price is Right. Despite this, Sony Pictures expressed confidence in his abilities. Ravi Ahua, chairman of Global Television Studios and Corporate Development for Sony, said, quote, "We're thrilled to begin the next chapter of America's favorite quiz show with Mike hosting our daily show and Mayim hosting the new versions of Jeopardy." Mike Richards, after everybody they went through, Ken Jennings, Aaron Rodgers, was the dude from Star Trek, LeVar Burton, Reading Rainbow guy? Yeah. Everybody they went through, they come out with Mike Richards. So looking forward to seeing how he settles into the Jeopardy role. It is 7:13 to Talk 107.3 FM. Quick break. When we come back, we talk small business with Dawn McVea next. I think so. He doesn't have a personality. Morning, Tiffany. Hopefully the new owners of McVea will have more success than the former ones. You know, yeah, I know. The former owners let things slide. They came out the blocks firing, but they let things slide. Chaz and his wife are doing it right. Yeah, sweet potato fries dipped in honey. It's ridiculous. Ridiculous! Oh.
Jeez, that was a quick break.
Telling you, man.
Well, because the live read.
I know. Should I push that live read back to... Well, no, traffic flows right in. I can't do it in between the break. Plus, if it's me recorded in the break, then go to me. That's why I pushed it back to before trending, thinking that, not knowing what was scheduled there. I don't want the rest of this coffee. Should probably take this thing home and wash it. (7:16) Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. All right, let's talk a little small business here. The headline reads, "Small business optimism dips in July as labor shortage remains the biggest challenge." Joining us now to discuss this topic is Dawn McVea. She heads up NFIB for Louisiana and Mississippi. That's the National Federation for Independent Business. They specialize in small business. Dawn, welcome back. How are you this morning?
Hey, good morning, Brian. I'm doing well. How are you?
I am doing very well as well. So,
Good.
Labor shortage remains the biggest obstacle, but that's based off of July. The enhanced unemployment benefits ended with the end of July as well, correct?
They did July 31st. The Louisiana.
So, is it going to be the end of August before we can see if this is going to work?
Probably, I think so. I think there's still so many factors. You know, we have always said, you know, that the less qualified workers is a continued challenge for our business owners. You know, 49% of them are reporting unfilled positions, but you have, you know, other states that have ended theirs, like Mississippi ended theirs in their extra benefits in mid-June. I'm sorry. And so they haven't, you know, they've seen a little uptick in applications, and so things are trending in the right way from what we're being told on the ground from our members. And we hope to start to see that here in Louisiana as well. You know, schools back in. We think that's a factor as well for people deciding to go back to work. So then, of course, you have the current situation here in Louisiana with the spike. So there are a lot of factors, and I don't know that there'll be one way to, you know, measure it at the end of this month. But we do know from what our members are telling us that they are beginning to see more applications than they were. We have many in certain sectors that had gotten to where they usually received 50 applications in a week to where they received none. So there was a complete stop in the workforce.
Applications are one thing, but qualified applicants is a whole other thing.
A whole other ball of wax.
Yeah. What are we looking at when it comes to that as well? Have folks taken on like new learning, new training, new ventures during the pandemic, or is it just, do we know enough to know whether or not the people who are applying are actually qualified for the jobs?
Well, our small business owners are telling us that, you know, their biggest issue is, okay, how do you attract them? How do you attract qualified workers? Mm-hmm. And so what they're doing is trying to be sure they're paying competitively, you know, that they're offering a safe work environment. So those are kind of their factors right now, and being sure they're able to keep their doors open. You know, their supply chain is not totally disrupted, even though it's happening across various segments of the economy. So for owners, they're kind of juggling a bunch of different things right now, and as they have been, you know, things have kind of settled down, and then here we are again. So what they're just trying to do is being sure they're, like I said, being competitive in their wages. A 30% report they've increased wages in the past 3 to 6 months, and that's kind of a look ahead. You know, they were looking at increasing wages again. I think we'll probably see some changes in that number, you know, as we look at how, you know, what this mask mandate turns into, and hopefully the numbers start to come down in the next week or so, and we start to see some positive trends that way and avoid an economic downturn.
Yes.
You know, but so they're focused on that. They're doing hiring bonuses, and they're offering enhanced benefits to the extent that they can. You know, we had a bunch of small business owners who were offering various benefits before the ACA was passed several years ago. And then when that mandate came down from the federal government about health care, it changed the whole dynamic for small business owners who had previously offered because of how expensive those premiums got. And so they had to drop that coverage, and they weren't able to offer that. And we talked a lot about that right after it happened. early on in the last term with President Trump. And now what you're seeing is, some changes that have happened at the federal level that have really been able to, change the impact of premiums, and you have business owners starting to look at opportunities to offer healthcare coverage again, which is very positive.
The healthcare coverage is an important factor, to be sure, but the overall incentive package, including salary and or hourly wage, however you want to break it down, is also very important. And we have seen a rise in signing bonuses, and a semi-natural rise in salary. Is this sustainable? As far as what the market is demanding, long term, like once we're out of this pandemic, are wages going to remain where they at, or will they dip back down again?
Well, they'll probably even out. And I don't know that, as we've talked about before, when we argue against the minimum wage mandate, that increased mandate on folks, that's going to, in certain major metro areas around our state, are going to, remain competitive because that's where the population is. But in the rural areas, I'm sure that the wages will kind of settle back down because a rural area of our state can only accomplish so much, right? So, that you have to go back and look at the market factors. And so we really believe that if things kind of continue as they are, the market settles down, the demand, we're being told from our members, is there. Consumer demand is there for goods and services, and so they're just trying to figure out ways to keep it going from the small business owner's perspective. So, but the inflation is definitely very real, and so I think you'll have to look at that long term to see what that impact is going to be from the inflation perspective, because you're starting to see business owners experience that, have to look at how do they pass that cost along, because there's only so many ways to make that bottom line work. Yeah,
it's a topic that intrigues the heck out of me, because every time we have the discussion of, or every time it's talked about on a national level about raising the minimum wage, if it's forced, if it doesn't happen organically, it's going to affect every other factor within the job market, and that's going to affect the number of jobs that are available. It's going to affect the cost of doing business. It's going to affect my cost as a customer as well. What we're seeing with this is it's happening naturally, but out of an emergency. So you can't really say it's a natural increase in wage, which is why I find it just fascinating to kind of project where that's going to be 2, 3, 4 years from now.
Well, government put their finger in it, right?
Yeah, they did, but I mean, because of the closures and everything, for sure.
The closures and the enhanced benefits, that put a premium on the situation as well. And so, there's there are a lot of factors out there. And when we talk about that ripple effect, it sounds like a broken record a lot of times, but it's very true.
No, it is, and it's never going to be 100% organic. It's never going to be 100% market driven. There will always be external factors that factoring into it, but it just, I don't know. Maybe I nerd out on this stuff, but it's one of those ones that completely intrigues me. Hey, got a question for you about capital outlay and capital investment. From the press release from NFIB, 26% of owners are planning capital outlays in the next few months. At some point, owners will have to step up capital spending to acquire and improve the quality of capital available to support new hires. Let's talk about that capital outlay for just a minute. 26% sounds like a very low number. Am I accurate with that?
I think so, yeah. What we like to see is owners planning to either expand as in a new location or expand the current location, grow that location, or end up with, some type of increase as it relates to a new building, a new piece of land, capital outlay.
Right. So the 26% number is going to stick out to me a good bit, because I feel like if you were making investments for the future, now would be the time to do it, because everything else is aligning up right. What is it? Strictly just optimism that's holding people back?
Typically, those are tied together. That's what's interesting about our survey. We have all these different questions we ask them, business owners, for the past 48 or so years on this a monthly survey. That's part of the how it's determined. That optimism number is your ultimate number of where the outlook is, but these are all the things that are tied into that. And yes, a business owner who is not feeling great about the future is not going to plan, an expansion or to buy a bunch of new inventory. Now, you did see, we talked about the increase over the summer. We saw a little uptick in optimism. We saw a little uptick in plans to increase inventory. And so here we are in August, and looking back, that's taking a little backtrack. So we know these closures, the talk of closures, the increase, the mandates, all of those things affect how a business owner is thinking. And think about it, they're pretty fresh off of last year, right?
Right.
So they're really thinking, okay, well, if we're back where we were last year, this is not the time. Inflation, supply chain disruptions, employees, all of those things go into that decision of, do I add on? Do I add that second location? Do I, expand my dining room so I can fit more folks? There's a lot of factors in that.
Dawn McVea from NFIB is our guest. We're talking small business and where their level of optimism is at. Also from your press release, it says in July, 52% of owners reported raising average selling prices 2 points higher than in June. The raise in selling prices, I can only imagine, is going to contribute to further hesitancy, because if the overall cost of doing business goes up, then the likelihood of investment, this isn't a strike while the iron's hot kind of time.
No, not at all. We, again, with the uncertainty that you have, that you're facing right now, why should an owner say, oh, let me go ahead and pull the trigger on those things? This is like the exact opposite situation that we were in after the Tax Cut and Jobs Act a few years ago at the federal level, when all of a sudden small business owners who have been sitting on plans to grow, we saw some great tax changes happen at the federal level, and they pulled the trigger. They were like, let's do this. I mean, you saw numbers shoot up. Optimism was at an all-time high. We have to remember that the economy was doing so well before COVID. We kind of forget that now that we've been in this, COVID mindset for so long. So that we're in the exact opposite position right there, right? So everything was, they saw the outlook for the economy. They saw the tax changes. They knew what they were looking at, and they could plan. And they knew they had regulations that were going to be eased, and things were going to be trucking along. Now, because of COVID, you have basically a total stop to that. You have to look at it and say, especially for the folks who were barely getting by before we even got into COVID, right? You had folks that were barely hanging on anyway, just because of the nature of small business and in certain areas of the state. So, you have to kind of look at that and say, well, some people decided to just shut it down altogether. And I think, we won't be able to really know what that really looks like for another year or so. I honestly hope this time right now we'd be looking at some trends and be able to know, but we're still in this thing, It's frustrating. So we have business owners that are really looking at it and saying, how do I keep my doors open? The PPP got them alive, kept them alive. And now they're looking at it saying, okay, I've got these dollars coming in. I know what my business model is. I know I've sharpened my edge. A lot of them really did. A lot of them said in that quarantine time, they really relooked at their business model. They really relooked at how they were doing things. And so here we are. They're trying to hire folks, but there are just so many things out of their control. The government piece, all the things happening at the federal level, the various programs that are still out there and still rolling.
And the pandemic itself. I mean, it's so open. It's so open-ended. It's not like you have a finish line or attainable goals. Like, you don't have anything tangible that you could say, okay, if we could just make it to here, if we can run the clock out on this thing, because there's a new variant every time you turn around, and it just, I don't know. There's so many different factors, but
it's so true. I mean, that's a great point. I mean, that in and of itself is, is the unknown. And so, there's, and then all these supply chain disruptions. It happens from trucking to for restaurants or everybody, chemical companies. Everybody's experiencing this. So it's a ripple effect. And whenever you have something poke its finger in the water, whether it be government or some other factor or COVID, into the economy, there's going to be there's going to be an effect.
She is Dawn Starnes, heads up NFIB. I introduced you by saying you head up NFIB in Louisiana and Mississippi. I'm just now looking at the press release. You've added Arkansas, Kansas, and Oklahoma to the mix?
Oversee those states. They have state directors there as well. But yeah, so I work with those guys to help manage those states. But they've got great folks there.
We appreciate you staying on top of this, and we will be in touch regularly throughout as more updates continue to come in. Dawn, thank you so much for the time.
Thank you.
All right. We are running late for CBS News. Let's get to it now. I screwed that up. What's happening? Doing all right. Hey, how long are we supposed to run for today? You said noon till when? Okay. All right. That's cool. What kind of lunch? Okay. Okay. 6 minutes? Oh? Okay. I can knock out a live read if we need to buy an extra 60 seconds.
Yeah, that's only.
All right.
The only ones that are every hour is that way you get money now.
Oh, I'll be there. For certain, yeah. Bro, they're wonderful.
What's up, buddy? How are y'all?
Yeah, come on in. Come on in. Come on in. Hello.
Okay, good morning. Come on in. All right. So, Brian.
Dr. Narcisse, hey.
How you doing?
Doing well.
Susan Thornton.
Oh, yeah. Darn glad to meet you.
Yes, nice to meet you. You got it?
Oh, yeah. We're good to go.
Do you want? You're supposed to be close to us.
Yeah, come on.
Same questions that you received, same everything. Well, I know, but still. Same everything, same everything. I got your package in the car. Mm-hmm.
This is 107.3.
Long COVID?
107.3.
Yeah, as opposed to short.
The hell is long COVID?
I've never even heard of
They
that.
just keep coming. Like, there's new terms every week.
Lots of returns.
Long COVID.
It's all good.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that. I'm sorry. Yeah. Camera's right there. We're always on YouTube. So, but once we're yeah, we've moved over from Facebook to YouTube. We're not on Facebook anymore. We're now on YouTube. The point is we're still live, though, even during the breaks.
We are growing. Check us out.
I know.
I love it.
I know. We're gonna have a lot more that we can do video-wise. Facebook was a nice little starting point, little launching point, but you're susceptible to so many factors that have nothing to do with the content we produce.
So the way we come in with this every month, I come once a month on the radio. This is a Crimestoppers partner. Crimestoppers on our advisory council. We partner with them, and then so I get a once a month, sometimes twice a month spot. And now TV once a month.
No, that's great. That's great.
Oh, yeah.
That's great, man. We can share more stuff.
We can share more stuff, and so maybe we can
Any
consider the
questions,
TV
so
show.
we're open book, man. So,
Yeah, we can do that. Oh.
yeah, we'll give you any information you need. Yeah. You guys don't have any water or anything around? Gotcha.
Now, I've been coming here for years, and I have never offered water. I'll tell you the truth.
Thank you, man.
You never asked.
That's true. I'm good.
Would you like one?
No, I'm good. That's good. I see you.
I do.
I see you. I see you. I looked at some pictures like a year ago, and I look back. I'm like,
I'm getting there. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm getting closer and closer. It feels like that goal weight, which would put me within 5 pounds of where I graduated high school.
I love
So,
that.
Yeah, looking to get down to 195. I graduated high school
You can
right
take
at
us a couple
190.
pictures.
So
You go to high school here?
I went to high school in Covington.
Covington, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
At St. Paul's.
St. Paul's, okay. Nice. How about you guys? Are you guys? I live in Walker. Walker? Okay.
Yeah, and I graduated from there.
Okay. Nice. How about
I moved right around here, went to high school in Hammond.
So, what are you
We're at-
saying, Don?
No, I went to St. Thomas College. For real?
Nice.
You rolling this morning?
Yeah, you know how
Brian, we
schedule
both
is.
Come on and roll. We had a good day yesterday. I was at McKinley Middle.
Yeah, I
What?
mean, you know,
Oh.
I always hold my breath to make sure everybody like gets picked up from the bus.
I want
Grabbing a
everybody-
couple pictures here.
Oh, pictures. I want everybody to get home safe. That's. I work with buses with the kids at McKinley Middle, and that's a big one.
That's what keeps me up
Until everybody's home safe.
Yeah.
There's no news. No one's left on the bus. They're not asleep.
on my
That's
early
right.
morning.
That's right. That's these babies. We're gonna learn, but. Are you not comfortable with the mask off for the interview? You're. Oh, I got you. I got you.
Yes, it is time for Crimestoppers. It's also back to school time. Big week in East Baton Rouge Parish as EBR schools back in this week. West Baton Rouge back in this week as well. A number of surrounding parishes also. And the private schools back in too. I now have all three of mine are finally physically back in.
Sounds good.
A ninth grader, a fourth grader, a kindergartner, and they're all in at this point. So it's back to the routines. But it's time for us to catch up with eye care. Dr. Susan Thornton is with us from eye care. It's also a good time to catch up with East Baton Rouge Parish Schools. Dr. Cito Narcisse is the superintendent. He joins us as well. Good morning, y'all. Welcome.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you.
Doing all right. Glad to have y'all back on here. Glad to be back to the routine.
Absolutely.
Look, I got to tell you, when it comes down to the difference between all the freedom of summertime versus the routine of the school year, as a parent, I so greatly appreciate the routine. It's like, yeah, you enjoy your summer, but time to get back to work.
It's here.
Right.
It's here.
Yeah.
It's here.
Right. Now, this school year is going to be a little bit different than in past. We've seen virtual, we've seen hybrid, we've seen everything. How different is this school year going to be as opposed to last year?
Well, let me just jump in. Well, this school year, of course, we're all back.
Right.
We are back in the schools. We're back. We're going to have that contact. We're back with that human to human. We're back with those smiles. We're back. We've learned something new, and it's called virtual hugs.
Right.
We're back, and we're just with those air hugs and virtual hugs. But we're back. We're here to let them know that we're back. We're safe. Education is about to roll out. It started on yesterday. We are crossing our T's and we're dotting our I's. So we're back. But we're coming back with a little bit more. I want to just tell you, we're coming back with information when a child would like to just have someone to talk to. We're bringing in more social workers. We're looking at that mental health component.
Right.
So that all of our children who've been out, they've been exposed to COVID. And just virtually, just looking at it vicariously on television, that's that exposure. So we need someone to talk to. And we are back with that extra component this year.
What kind of tools are in place to address those needs?
Absolutely. You're talking about that human. We are bringing in more staff that have been brought in to talk to the students. We're also bringing in more curricula in this school year.
Right.
We're talking more about social emotional learning. We are helping the students to get in tune, to get in touch with their feelings, and then what to do with those feelings.
Dr. Narcisse, is there a transference there between the emotional well-being through COVID versus the test scores that were released last week? I mean, is there a one-to-one comparison to say because of this you can see this?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think the education has changed. We've changed as people, right? I mean, coming through this pandemic has really been a different shift.
Right.
I mean, it's interesting to watch now that mental being is also connected to performance, but it's been like that for years. I mean, it's just now that it's becoming something that people are actually talking about. And now that we've come off this pandemic and, people had to kind of work through their lives in COVID. I mean, think about, no one has lived through what we've lived through, right?
Right.
The world is shut down for a little bit. You had to spend more time with family. lonely. You had to spend more time with folks. You didn't get to connect with other humans. There's a lot of things that impact on how you think about everything you do in your life. And so you can imagine, we're adults, and so we have a set of tools to try to figure some of that out. But kids, they get exposed to new stuff every day, right?
Right.
And, their life and experience and those things. And that kind of changes. And so what we've been trying to do is, as you heard, is like we're trying to make sure that we can wrap our processes around kids so they can connect, their mental being to schools. And we've had lots of research that show when the mental being is connected with schools, kids perform better and they're overall better humans in that process.
Talk to me about a goal. Give me one goal that you have for parents in East Baton Rouge Parish School System this year.
Yeah, I mean, one goal we have for parents is to be more connected to the schools.
Okay.
One of the things that I heard when I came on board was, not everyone felt that they were connected to knowing what was going on or understanding, what happens with their children. It would happen by school, not as an entire city.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been really focusing a lot more on that. I mean, there's tools that we're putting more in place around, we're about to soon have apps for schools so parents can actually have an app that they can work through with communicating within their individual schools.
Okay.
As you heard Doc say about, we're going to have more parent liaisons are actually in schools now where, we have parents that are going to help to organize and support more around PTO, PTA. We have a parent university where we're going to work and help families to think about how to navigate through the system.
Okay.
And also how to help their kids at home to read, write, and comprehend. There's always these assumptions that are made that parents, they know everything that they're doing, but, it's kind of a collaborative approach.
So a lot of this sounds like this is all communication based. Mm-hmm. What put you on that path to was there something glaring that stuck out to you that said, hey, communication's a problem that needs to be fixed?
Yeah, I mean, when I came on board, we did a transition report which talked about various levels of things that needed to happen at the school level. Mm-hmm. And also we had a lot of different set of stakeholders that gave us feedback, whether it was families or people within the organizations or nonprofit support communities. I mean, there was just, because it takes a whole village to kind of do school. People think it's only only teachers in the classroom, but it's really teachers, principals, community partners, folks like you, and so we got more information, and they said, hey, here's some things that we want to hear more about. Is like, what can we do to help support? How can we think about what needs to happen within our community? Because our schools are also kind of neighborhood based as well. So
right.
And so those kind of differentiate whether you're in the northern part of the town or in the southern part of the town or mid city. And so and those needs are different too. So we've always been trying to think about what does that look like.
What's going to look different this year? What's something students will notice that's different from last year?
Yeah, as Doc talked about, every kid's going to wear a mask.
Sure.
So that's going to be, getting a mask on the bus. That's going to be different. Last year we had some grades that didn't wear masks, but now everyone has to wear that mask. We're going to be doing more deep cleaning, sanitizing. Everything is in person. Right, in terms of if you choose to go to school, that's going to feel different because teachers felt very taxed last year. Think about they had to teach a child not only in the classroom but also at the same time on a video. So imagine the amount of expertise you have to do to manage that, and that was a learning curve for folks. Not that teachers did the best that they could, but it was exhausting trying to figure out how to work through that. Now you're either all in person or you're in a virtual school. And so that's going to feel like the new normal. Also, schools will be packed, right? Because, now you have more kids back. So there's more protocols, procedures. Some sense of normalcy will be in that space. But,
right.
Coming off the pandemic's going to be a little shift.
What about from iCare's perspective? What's going to look different?
What's going to look different? I want to add just one thing before I go to iCare. What's going to look different is customer service.
Mm-hmm.
We've been in training. We've had talks. We've watched videos. We are improving. This is all about growth. It's no matter where you are and no matter what union or relationship you're in. We have growth, and we're going to be looking at customer service. When our parents walk in, when the neighbors walk in, we're looking for just improved greeting. Just start from the beginning, just how you greet someone when you walk in the door. iCare, we are there. We are here. We are in all schools. We've been in all schools all day. Someone will be there. We're going to be ramping up our Crimestoppers program. I was at McKinley Middle yesterday, and we're getting ready to start our poster contest. So someone said, well, what's the theme? I said the theme is, if you know something, say something. You know someone has a gun or something in the locker. You know a fight is about to break out. Mm-hmm. You know something is going to go wrong. If you know something, say something. We are pushing Crimestoppers. We are pushing to tell us so that we can keep everyone safe. We're going in with more tools. We're going in with more techniques. We're going in with that listening ear. I want to hear what that child has to say. I want to hear. I want to be able to make those connections or make those resources so that we can better help that child to get them back on track.
The poster contest you mentioned, you mentioned this at the beginning of every school year.
Yes,
so
I
for those,
do. I am so excited.
For those that aren't familiar with it, give us the background.
Give you the background. So Crimestoppers sponsors a poster contest in all high schools and all middle schools. They have an opportunity to just to tooth themselves and just to draw and to say, what would I like this poster to look like among my peers? It's not something that I'm going to do or Dr. Narcisse is going to do or you're going to do. They want to hear from their peers visually, and that's what's going to happen. We select a winner, and the winner will receive $100, and then we get to copy that poster, to have that poster printed, and that poster is posted all over the school. Constantly, every day, that child is in the school, they're going to see something about, if you know something, say something. You know something's going to start. Look, we're humans, they're kids, come on, they're teens. But if something's going to go off, something's going to happen in our schools, we want to be very proactive. We want to get a jump on it. So we're ready. We're about to get that poster contest started, sponsored by Crimestoppers.
I think you get excited about it every year.
I'm excited every year.
I'm excited about the poster contest. A couple of things that we're going to see this year as we move from a virtual or a hybrid back to fully in person. Masks have been a point of contention for some parents. Your recommendation for parents who have questions and or objections to the mask wearing?
Yeah, I mean, I understand. I mean, we're in a very, everything's very, contextualized, and I know people want to have choice. But the reality is, we sit with the Health Advisory Commission, which consists of a lot of physicians from Our Lady of Lake and also our Department of Health that advises us on these things. I tell folks I don't make this decision in isolation. I actually have a group of professionals that sit down and say, hey, here's what's going on in Baton Rouge, here's what the data is, here's our recommendation. And so, right now, as these numbers are with this Delta variant, the people that are in the ICUs are people who are not vaccinated. And because you don't know who is or who's not, you have to really be kind of safe. So I just told parents, bear with us. Right now, this is kind of where our requirement is. But if we do what we have to do over time, things will change. And as the numbers change, we change, right? And so I think it's important to kind of be in that space. I understand there's always this notion of don't tell me what to do and, and all that. But I tell folks it's not about that. I mean, if I could say, hey, no mask, I would love to say that. But the reality is, until the numbers are changing, I can't really technically do that because our children, they are much more susceptible to these things. If all the adults got vaccinated, I'll tell you what the committee told me. If all the adults got vaccinated, we wouldn't have to worry about this.
Right.
Right. And so, but that's our reality. And so we just have to kind of work through that. But just a little bit of time is important.
One thing I wanted to take away from there, and we're actually going to go over by about 2 minutes, but that's fine. I'll deal with that on the back end. One thing I wanted to emphasize or reiterate was, did I hear you say that what's in place right now doesn't necessarily have to be in place for the entire school year? You have the ability to kind of shift on the fly if changes are real in real life, changes are real in the school world as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, everybody's stuck on what the decision is right now and only now. But, once we get through some data, as I told folks, I'm going to be always talking with the Health Advisory Committee where we are, looking at our data. If things begin to shift and we can get more folks get vaccinated or we're clear about our testing immunity and all those components, then we can be able to make some of those changes. But I think, right now, the push I tell folks is just work together to just do what we need to do for our community right now.
We got about 2 minutes left here, and the emphasis has been on the students, as it always should be. But we are talking about a number of teachers that are back in the wild again, and are there resources for the teachers as well to bring them back to a comfort level of getting back among other people?
Yeah, so from a resource standpoint, there's a lot of resources. When you look at, whether it's for PPE, those things, we actually provide all that stuff. We have so much of it that we told folks, don't even worry about buying it. We'll give it to you. So that's on that. And the other part of our resources that Dr. Thornton could talk about.
Absolutely. Let me just jump in right here. We are there in the schools. We have some schools that are just trying to create a room of just calming, just giving those teachers a moment just to step away, just to, on their break time, just to go in there and just to relax, just to gather themselves, just to center themselves. We have that. We're implementing and suggesting or recommending, play some calming music in the morning when they're walking in. You wouldn't believe how it sometimes just reduces the stress. Don't forget to go and just say hello to that person. human to human. We got to go back to who we are. We are human to human, and that human to human contact. But not only are we bringing the resources to the students, because it's going to help the students, it's helping them to learn how to calm down.
Yeah.
How to get in touch with their feelings. What to say and what not to say. Not to run down the hallway, to walk down the hallway. This is very important because students, we're at a fast pace. We're fast-paced everything. We microwave everything. We run through everything. So that's what we do. Teachers, we are having all of these tools for teachers. Don't forget, we also have employee assistance program. If they need to talk to someone, they can talk to someone. It's afforded to them. If they need other resources, because we have an awesome insurance. I work for, EBR. We have great insurance. So we can go and we can talk to a therapist, or we can talk to a counselor. So resources are there.
We're back at it. I mean, it is the back-to-school week. Schools are in effect, in full, in East Baton Rouge Parish. Dr. Cito Narcisse, Dr. Susan Thornton, thank y'all so much for the
You're
time.
more than welcome.
Thank you so much for having us.
Quick break. When we come back, we're hitting the outside and stepping outside of East Baton Rouge Parish. Baton Rouge Physical Therapy brings you the outside in every single day. That's coming up next. I had so much more. Always do. It's it's going to be. I think once we're all in the routine and we start to see these numbers peel off a little bit,
It will be fine.
The mask mandate went back into effect a week ago yesterday. There's just not enough time to know what's what.
Yeah.
We don't know where we're headed yet.
Yeah.
We'll know in a week if we can start to see a trend.
Yeah.
But that's just the beginning of a trend.
Yeah.
We don't know where we're going.
Yeah, I mean, I tell folks it's all about numbers. You want me to be that way.
Oh, no, totally.
I tell folks, like, you may not
Totally.
agree with everything, but you want me to be like, hey, look at numbers for kids, and so we'll just manage accordingly. So.
Good deal.
All right,
Well,
man. Thank you so
appreciate
much.
you coming on. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. And if you ever want him back on
I
again,
always do. I talk
yes.
a lot. Well, this is not like typical talk radio. I stay as local as possible. I have Dr. Brumley on once a month. As often as I can have him, I'll be bugging the hell out of you.
Yes, please. Please
Absolutely.
do.
Yeah.
Yes.
In fact, I'll shoot you a text right after the show today, just so you'll have my number.
I appreciate you.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for having us.
My pleasure. Thank you. All right, we'll see y'all next time. Thanks.
Yes, so noon today.
Noon today? I'll be there.
Be there a little early.
Just
Call me,
hit
I'll
the
get
lobby
you up.
and they'll buzz you, or what?
Yeah, or just text me when
I'll
you get
text you.
there.
Okay.
Or call me.
We'll do. How many people are in on this?
Buddy, we invited the 3 News,
Yeah.
3 TV, Advocate, you, and I think Gina reached out to Cumulus. And that's it. Just kind of a little round table.
Okay.
Just easy.
Okay.
Things we did before.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah.
all right, buddy.
All right.
Thank you.
We'll see you in a couple hours.
See you, bud. Take care. See you.
Where's something else? Alright. Oh, BRBT.
Well, they sponsored the segment, so that should be easy. Tiffany says parental involvement makes the biggest difference for kids. For some of us, it's crazy that parents wouldn't know what's going on, but it happens way too much. Yep, completely. I like the idea of an app. There's a lot of leading a horse to water there, though. Can you make them drink? You made it to the round table. No, not mainstream by any stretch of the imagination. He has a handler. He has a... it is normal for the superintendent of schools to have a communications director, for sure. Brian, why not tell them why you don't have any of your children in public schools? Because I'm Catholic, and I believe in a Catholic education. I was raised with a Catholic education in St. Tammany Parish, where schools were number 1.
Turned out okay.
I'm all right. I mean...
For the most part. It's all you can ask for.
You know. Got to deal with the hand I was dealt, right?
Yeah, I mean...
755 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. We got CBS News coming your way in just a little bit. Next hour, let's talk about the potential of a moratorium on building, on development in Baton Rouge. I know it sounds like a far-fetched idea, but surrounding parishes have looked at it. Our Metro Council is discussing it. They've pushed the possible vote back by a number of months, which is probably the right call because there's so many different landmines if you start to really engage with this conversation. Rowdy Guadet is the councilman from District 3. He's going to join me at 8:15 to talk about it. Also, it's looking like Fred's not going to be much of a problem for us, if any problem at all. However, we want to explore a little bit about what's going on with our tropical systems right now. Fred is out there. It's headed for the Gulf. If it is headed for the Gulf, we should at least give it some level of attention, right? Josh Eachus, Dr. Josh Eachus, chief meteorologist at WBRZ, will join us at 8:40 to talk about that. Right now, though, we step outside of East Baton Rouge Parish for a segment we call The Outside In. Start off in Ascension Parish, where 2 people were detained after a police chase ended in Gonzales Wednesday evening. Heavy police presence can be seen at a gas station on the corner of West Worthy and South Burnside around 7 p.m. According to state police, the suspects were being pursued for driving a stolen vehicle. No one was injured in the chase. Keeping in Ascension, didn't take long to get our first COVID adjustment of the new school year. Baton Rouge Diocese moved one campus to virtual learning for the next week after COVID cases were found on the first day of school at Ascension Catholic. According to the diocese, 2 cases of coronavirus were found in high school students. That led to contact tracing. That led to discovering 13 more cases. In an abundance, quote, in an abundance of caution and in an effort to halt the spread of the virus, Ascension Catholics began virtual instruction on Monday for all students grade 9 through 12. A diocese spokesperson said, in-person classes will resume a week from today. Lower grades, kindergarten through 8th, continue to meet for in-person classes at the schools. East Feliciana Parish. 2 men were arrested after a body was discovered inside a car along Highway 10 late last week. The East Feliciana Sheriff's Office said the body was found around 5:30 a.m. Friday on the highway just west of the Amite River. Sheriff's Office said 22-year-old Lance T. Gilmore was found dead from gunshot wounds. On Wednesday, the Sheriff's Office announced 18-year-old Noah Williams and 20-year-old Aaron Hurst were booked on murder charges in the killing. No other details related to that killing were immediately available. Moving from East to West Feliciana, a late-night fire at the state penitentiary in Angola led to prison staff evacuating nearly 300 inmates from their living spaces. Department of Corrections said the fire was reported around 1 a.m. Wednesday at the prison in West Feliciana Parish. A DOC spokesperson said the fire began at a workshop, spread to a neighboring dorm for trustees. 94 prisoners inside the burning evacuated. 94 prisoners from inside the burning dorm were evacuated. Another 194 from adjacent dorms. No one was injured in that fire as well. That is The Outside In. The Outside In brought to you every day by the folks over at Baton Rouge Physical Therapy. They got 6 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area. You'll find them in EBR. You'll find them in Ascension. You will find them in Livingston, and you will have found them for the last 58 years. They kind of know what they're doing. They've been around for 58 years. They basically introduced Baton Rouge to physical therapy. And when you think physical therapy, if you're thinking about recovering from a major injury, it's so much more than that. It's that nagging pain from lifting with your back instead of your legs. It's that nagging pain in your neck from being hunched over a computer all day long. Talk to the folks at BRPT Lake. They will get you set up. They will get to the root of your problem and treat it. 917-9185 is the phone number, or brptlake.com. Why? You don't get off till 4? Or you will? Is that a good thing? Okay. Oh. Yeah.
The good news is, I'm in the same building all day. I'm in the same building all day.
Think about the money you're going to save on gas. Think about the money you're going to save on gas alone.
Dude, gas alone.
bring home the coffee mug and the pint glass. The wonderful pint glass, the Christmas gift from the 9-year-old. New Orleans Pelicans. Smells like coffee. Do I? Oh, I haven't even looked yet. I've got in my This Day in History email is 14 friggin' pages long. 14 pages. I haven't. Andre says, vaccinated adults are getting and spreading the virus. That's what we're being told. Your guest in that block contradicted the national data and narrative.
How do you spell his first name?
SITO?
Narcisse,
Yeah. Yeah.
When is the Saints play?
Saturday at 6. From 6 to 6:20. After that, it'll be a lot of soon-to-be former Saints playing.
Yeah. When is the actual Saints play?
3 weeks from now.
It'll be the same receivers, but everybody else.
Man, I hope so. Let's go, Jalen. It has been 2 decades since we've had a St. Paul's Wolf in the NFL.
Who's the last one?
Nilo Sylvan played for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Nilo was a senior my freshman year at St. Paul, so I got to watch him for 2 years, 8th grade and freshman year. Then he went and played with Tennessee, had Peyton Manning throwing him passes. .805 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP Hour 3 of Mornings with Brian Haldane coming your way right now. Brian here with you. Taylor Sharp producing. Got a busy third hour. I want to talk about this building moratorium, and the vote on it has been delayed for a few months, which means we have some room to chat. There's some room to talk about the actual viability of this. Ascension Parish and Iberville Parish have looked at similar things and implemented a few things as well. What are we doing here in EBR? Metro Councilman Rowdy Guadet is going to join me in the next segment to talk about it. Is it even possible? We'll break it down in our next segment. Right now, though, every day at this time, Taylor takes you back in time with This Day in History. Oh!
All right, we start out in 1492. Christopher Columbus arrives in the Canary Islands on his first voyage to the New World.
I like that. I like that a lot. That's a productive day.
1658.
Just hop off the boat. Maybe have a pina colada or something. You think they had those in the Canary
I doubt
Islands?
it.
Okay.
1658. First American police force forms in New Amsterdam.
Oh, really?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
1833. The town of Chicago is incorporated. It has a population of 350.
Okay.
And they still led the country in violent crimes. 1877. Thomas Edison completes the first model for the phonograph.
Yeah, first like actual recording, right?
And then Nickelback made their song. Look at this phonograph. You remember that song?
You might be missing by a letter. Yeah, you know.
You know what? You're right.
Yeah,
it's photograph.
Yeah, it's just photograph, like Def Leppard sang. Hey, you know what the first thing he recorded was? I actually know this. This is one of those weird trivia things.
Lou Holtz's halftime speech.
That's exactly what it was.
I knew it.
No, it was Mary Had a Little Lamb. Legit. That's
okay.
What he recorded.
In 1908, Henry Ford's company builds the first Model T car.
You're making the first recording ever. Hire a writer. That's all I'm saying. Bring in somebody, do something good.
1950, the first international game by an NFL team. The New York Giants beat the CFL's Ottawa Rough Riders 20-6.
Okay.
1967.
Oh, I know this one.
The New Orleans Saints' first ever preseason victory.
Yep.
They beat St. Louis 23-14.
Yep. Jim Everett was a quarterback.
How'd they do the regular season? How'd they do in the regular season that year?
Yeah, not so hot.
I didn't know. I assumed. 1994.
Flipper Anderson and Henry Ellard were playing wide receiver.
Man, I miss Flipper.
Eric Dickerson in the backfield. I might be missing by a couple decades, but I'm just going to keep going.
Yeah, I don't think it's Eric. I don't think Eric Dickerson played in 67. First NFL game on Fox Network this day in 1994.
Okay.
San Francisco versus Denver.
Who won?
Doesn't say.
Hang on.
San Francisco won.
You don't know this.
They were good back then, so I'm going to go with them.
Well, I'm crumpling up the paper that had it on there.
1994.
I crumpled it up too soon.
Do you have it?
1984, and one of the ugliest brawl-filled games in... No, 94?
94.
It doesn't say here either.
Oh. Well, San Francisco won that game, so congratulations to the 49ers.
Yay!
Again in 1994, members of Major League Baseball Players Association go on strike, leading to the cancellation of the World Series for only the second time in Major League history. The other time was 1904 over a labor dispute.
Yep. Imagine that. Both times were over a labor dispute.
Birthdays. Boxer Tyson Fury, 33 years old.
Okay.
Sir Mix-a-Lot.
Yeah,
Baby
boy.
got back himself, 58
That's right.
years old. Chris Middleton.
Who?
Chris Middleton, guard for the Milwaukee Bucks, 30 years old today.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. I heard Middleton, and for some reason I thought the royal family.
No.
No relation.
No I
No
don't
relation
think so.
there. Okay.
I don't think so.
Just making sure.
George Soros, 91.
All right.
John Cadbury, creator of the Cadbury egg, 1802.
That's an important one right there.
Yes, it is. Miss Cleo, 1962. I already knew that one ahead of time.
Nice. Very nicely done. I can appreciate that one.
And I got one last one to shoot out at you. Plaxico Burress, 44 years old today.
Hey, now. Plaxico
Mr.
Burress.
Firearm himself.
Hey, now, yeah. Hey, it's also Pete Sampras' birthday. The tennis player?
Yeah,
tennis player
death.
Pete Sampras.
Les Paul in 2009.
Okay.
Henry Fonda, 1982.
Casey Affleck's birthday.
Casey Affleck. It is Casey Affleck's birthday. William Blake died on this day in 1827. That
Okay.
feels like just yesterday. And Cleopatra died. Would you like to know what year?
Sure.
30.
Just the year 30?
The year 30.
Okay.
She died. She was born in 65 BC.
Okay.
She died this day.
In 30.
Hadn't gotten over that one yet. National days. It is Baseball Fans Day.
Yeah, it is.
Which does not include me.
Woo!
It's International Youth Day.
Okay.
It's Middle Child Day. That's one for me. Let's go.
You're a middle child?
Yes, sir.
That is so not surprising.
What's that supposed to mean? I have like this middle child rebellious streak in me or something?
Yeah, well, like not necessarily a rebellious streak. There's an edge. There's an edge there. There's a
Look,
general chip on the shoulder.
I like that.
There's
a
a want
chip on
to
the
prove
shoulder.
yourself.
That's it. Yeah, I have an older sister. She's 27, and my younger brother's 18. So I'm smack dab in the middle.
Okay.
It's National Sewing Machine Day.
Because why not?
It's Truck Driver Day.
Whatever.
Which means it should be National Interstate Backup Day as well. Vinyl Record Day.
That's the one I had in my email, and I don't understand it, but okay.
It's World Elephant Day. It's a big day. It's Elvis Week.
Elvis Week?
Elvis Week.
Tell Jacob Hester.
I'm going to let him know.
Yeah.
And it is, not really sure why this one's celebrated, but it is National Hobo Week.
Hobo Week?
Yeah, but it's only celebrated for 4 days.
Okay.
It's from today till the 15th.
That's odd. All right. We'll find out more about Hobo Week in a little bit. Right
That
now,
is
though,
for this day and age.
I appreciate it. Right now, we're due up for a break. Coming back, talking about the possibility of a building moratorium. The vote's been pushed back for a few months, but there's discussion to be had here, and Metro Councilman Rowdy Guadet joins us next. Hey. Wellness testing coming up? It's for the health insurance. They test your blood pressure, get your vitals, your weight, your all that other good stuff. It's actually going to be a good year for me to do the wellness testing next Friday. You signed up for health insurance already? Okay. Our health insurance is phenomenal. They guarantee takes care of us as far as like you're offered incentives to do like diets, exercise, like you can get like your gym membership written off, that sort of thing. We're a really great place to work. Memphians? Is that what you call people from Memphis?
I always call them Memphians.
Memphisians? She says Memphians.
Probably correct.
Okay.
Sounds more professional than mine.
Yeah.
Mine sounds like an animal. You don't know what it looks like.
Memphizers would be a bad one too.
Memphis?
Memphizers? Yeah.
Yeah, that could be it.
Yeah. They refer to it as Dead Elvis Week.
Dead Elvis.
Yeah. That's Elvis Week where you're not allowed to have exams.
Oh, I know why Hobo Week's only 4 days.
Why?
Hobos don't know what day it is anyways.
There you go.
Makes perfect sense.
Are hobos still a thing?
I don't know. Would you ever see somebody walking around with a stick with a bandana?
Right. I mean, and what's inside that bandana? Like a bottle of Pert Plus or something? A sandwich?
Just one, yeah.
Just like half a sandwich. Like a tattered.
Yeah, I eat the other half waiting for the ride.
It's like somebody tried to refold the saran wrap after it got all clingy.
Yeah.
$8:16 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. The story from The Advocate reads, Metro Councilman Rowdy Guadet is delaying his effort to implement a building moratorium in East Baton Rouge. The proposal was originally set to come up for a vote yesterday. It's been pushed back by several weeks. It would require developers to abide by higher drainage standards in flood-prone areas as Guadet works to amend the legislation to gain more support from council colleagues and address concerns from builders. And Rowdy joins us now. Good morning. How are you, sir?
Hey, Brian, you hear me okay?
I'm hearing you just fine. Are you hearing me?
All right.
We've been having some issues with the phone, so glad to have you on.
To y'all.
Good to have you on. Good to be having this discussion because while the vote has been pushed back by several weeks, there is still a lot to talk about when it comes to this topic because while you want to make sure you're fair to all parties involved, there are real concerns to be addressed.
Mm-hmm.
What are the concerns that got the ball rolling with you on this?
Well, I mean, I think certainly the late May weather event that we got that flooded several areas across our parish, that shifted the conversation. I tell several folks, the district that I'm privileged to represent, District 3, is the far southern portion of the parish, and as everyone knows, very ripe for development and to continue to support economic development in this parish. And when I was elected 8 months ago, the conversation was let's grow and let's develop in this area. The May weather event combined with the severe weather events we've had over the past few years shifted the conversation. And I think a lot of people started to say, maybe we need to, understand a little bit more and be more strategic about how and where we're developing. So the intent behind this temporary moratorium, first off, not a parish-wide moratorium, not a blanket moratorium to stop all development. That conversation was just a non-starter.
Right.
Council members, we had discussions and agreed that was not going to be the most effective and strategic way to go about this. But targeting the flood zones, those special flood hazard areas, is a more strategic way to go about this. So the intent behind this is a 12-month temporary moratorium targeting special flood hazard areas. In the meantime, we've got a lot of work going on. The administration's implementing $20 million worth of drainage maintenance right now across the parish. We've got some major canal work that can get underway over the course of the next 12 months. And then the primary objective is we've got a stormwater master plan going. That data is going to be critically important to inform how we develop going forward. And that data, frankly, needs to drive how and where we develop. And so the 12-month moratorium is to say, let's get all that going, get the work done on the maintenance, get the major canal work done to manage the water, and get that data in from the stormwater master plan.
It's kind of amazing that it's taken us until 2021 to really get the ball rolling on a forward-thinking conversation when it comes to a master plan, when it comes to what businesses should be doing when they try to develop, as opposed to the hodgepodge that has led us to Baton Rouge being built the way it was built. I mean, this is a lot of playing catch-up from looking back. So how do you weigh the difference between playing catch-up and being forward-thinking within it? Because these are two separate conversations that are going to have to bring themselves together eventually.
Well, I mean, I think development has been occurring across this parish for some time. I think we have taken strategic steps. Part of what's in this moratorium is action steps that have been taken since 2016 to improve the way we develop in this parish. So it is an ongoing process. You certainly, as I alluded to earlier, you don't ever want to, cut the knees out from development in this parish. We're the capital city.
Right.
We're going to get, hopefully, more projects like some of the major ones we've seen recently. When you get an Amazon come to town and you talk about 1,000+ jobs, you got to support that. You got to put the infrastructure in around that. You got to put the housing in to support that. And so we want to see more of that in this parish. We just want to continue working towards being strategic of how and where we do those things.
How does a building go up on a particular lot affect the overall drainage for that neighborhood or that area?
Well, that's a part of the conversation. I mean, certainly as a developer goes through the process now, they have to take into account their impact on the drainage situation. The question from citizens, I think, is, do we have an overall view of that? Do we have an overarching view of that? What you saw in May was newly developed areas not taking on water in homes, and some of these older areas I had neighborhoods in the district I represent, 30 plus years citizens lived there, never took on water. They did in May. And so those questions started to arise of, are we truly looking at a holistic picture here? Now, if you're in the game, I talk to the folks who work in this, and they will tell you, yes, we do an adequate job of accounting for and taking into account the impact that new developments will have on drainage. But there's always better ways to do it. The Stormwater Master Plan, for instance, is going to give us on-the-ground data. The reason it's taken a couple of years to go and get that is because literally these folks are getting into the canals and taking into account the data of where that water flows, how it flows, and that'll help feed how we manage water in this parish. We are South Louisiana, Brian, as you well know. We have to live with water. Water runs all throughout this parish. So we've got to continuously do a great job of managing that water.
Metro Councilman Rowdy Guadet is our guest. Rowdy, in the Advocate article, it says the amended legislation would now give developers the option between limiting outflow rates or building detention systems. How would a building go about limiting its outflow? I would think its outflow is its outflow, right?
Well, I mean, these are the options that are part of the moratorium. We put out a plan that was on the agenda from last night. Once that was out there in the public, we got some folks contact us and say, well, that leads to some questions. Are we talking about existing developments? If I've got something that I've put infrastructure in the ground, does this moratorium mean I've got to go in and tear it up and redo what I've done? And so that's, we wanted to add the clarifying language for that to account for these things. So the enhanced drainage design requirements that are in there are asking developers, if you're going to target, or if your project touches into a flood hazard zone, we need you to do quadruple of what the current code is. Right now, we ask developers to, by code, develop to a 25-year storm event. This moratorium would say if you're going to go into a flood zone, you've got to quadruple that and develop to a 100-year storm event. So it's significantly increasing those drainage design requirements.
Okay, and this would only be for new businesses as the discussion is being had now. Are there any current businesses or development? I hate to narrow this down to just business because a lot of the problem has to do with residential development as well. So how do you address the concerns for people coming online with new business that they're going to have to play by a different set of rules and a different set of standards that it's going to affect their cost of doing business?
Yeah, I definitely recognize that. I mean, in a sense, anytime a moratorium is brought into the conversation, you're talking about changing the rules in the middle of the game. And so that's why it was important that we get everybody, frankly, all stakeholders around the table to talk through this thing and to provide input on it. And so I think that's where we've come to is a pretty reasonable compromise that, number one, recognizes and is sensitive to the citizens who have taken on water or have been impacted by these weather events, but then also sensitive to, if we go and completely decimate our development industry, that has a significant economic impact on our parish. This is not just talking about developers, and this is not intended at all to target developers. When you impact that industry, you're talking about construction workers, you're talking about roofers, you're talking about people who provide all the supplies. You're talking about a major economic impact if you're going to say, let's stop the development industry for a period of time. So this was sort of that, let's find that sweet spot to say, we need some time, we got to press a pause button, let's give it a year, let's get some of that data in so that we can make some sound policy decisions. And in the meantime, this will incentivize develop away from those flood zone areas.
Absolutely. Rowdy Guadet is our guest. He's Metro Councilman in District 3, and the discussion's been tabled for a little while, or at least the vote's been tabled for a little while, or more than a little while, as far as a potential moratorium on new development in East Baton Rouge Parish. How much did you talk to some of the surrounding parishes that have looked at their own moratoriums in developing where it is we would want to go here in EBR?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, you've seen some of that moratoriums were put in immediately after that May flood event. And, we talked as members of the council and said, let's make sure we're being smart and strategic about this. And I think you'll see, and I think you have seen, some of those other moratoriums are being challenged. And so the intent here was, be smart about the language. Let's account for some of that so that, this is not something that's challenged and thrown out immediately after it's enacted. So we certainly did take a look at what other parishes are doing. And frankly, this is an issue. We've talked about it before, Brian, on your show. This is an issue that crosses parish boundaries. And so while this temporary moratorium is for East Baton Rouge and will go before the East Baton Rouge Metro Council, the issue of water and water management is, in fact, a regional issue and involves conversations across parish lines.
Yeah, it does, and we've had the conversation in the form of doing battle over bladder dams and the like with surrounding parishes as well. And that's going to come right back up, though, because no matter what we do to improve drainage, water's got to go somewhere.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's why I say it is a continuously, it is an ongoing process for us to continue managing our water, and it flows downward. And we've got to make sure here in this parish, and I say the same thing when I go into neighborhoods. Folks will say, well, if you fix this drainage in our neighborhood, it'll improve. But the question really is, well, where are you pushing it? Where is it going? We've got to have that same conversation on a regional basis. And frankly, we're doing that. I don't mean to suggest that we're not. There are several regional initiatives. I know this administration and the other parish administrations are involved in conversations and doing that. So that is taking place where we're saying let's account for it and let's think on a much broader basis than just what's within our parish boundaries.
Back to the part about limiting outflow rate, the other possibility there was building detention systems.
Mm-hmm.
That would, A, eat up property for one thing, but B, would businesses be able to work with other businesses together, or even residential areas together to kind of collaborate beyond their own space?
Oh, yeah. I think every piece of property is going to be unique. Every development is going to come in with its own, its own unique challenges and its own unique opportunities on how to address it. So, yeah, the answer to that is yes. And what we ran into also after we put out the initial version was some folks came in and said, I've got a piece of this property that's in the flood zone, but that's not where I'm developing. And so, again, does this impact me? They wanted some clarifying language. So that's what we sought after. There's going to be a lot of unique situations, and always the devil is in the details.
Sure.
But essentially on this, what we said was we can't make perfect be the enemy of good. There's going to be no 100% foolproof. This is going to cover every situation. But the overarching intent here is, let's take a look at where we develop it, particularly in these flood zones. Let's increase those drainage design requirements in the interim. And then once we get that data in, we'll implement those policy decisions, and we'll know as a community how we develop going forward.
It is going to be a fascinating discussion to follow as it moves forward, not to mention letting it play out to see where some of the currently invested dollars or recently invested dollars into our drainage, how they play out and factor into this discussion as well. In the meanwhile, we always appreciate the time. Rowdy Guadet, Metro Councilman from District 3. Thank you so much, sir.
Yep, appreciate you, Brian. Y'all have a great day.
You too, man. We'll talk to you soon. Yeah, get ready for the term impact study being like the lead in a number of stories. This is going to affect different business models differently, but I'm gonna keep coming back around to changing the rules in the middle of the game. He addressed that. He also said, "Don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good." Going to be an interesting path to walk down, especially after what we all went through in May and 2016, for that matter. 8:31, Talk 107.3 FM. Quick break for news. When we come back, let's talk Tropical Storm Fred, such as it is. I like having him on. Hit my thorns. Okay. Oh, so sleepy time. Do I? Go Slim is tomorrow. I'll be over there for my weigh-in. 10 o'clock tomorrow. Last week, Vicky was telling me, she's like, somebody came in on Monday, was asking where I was at. And Vicky's like, well, he comes in on Fridays, and the customer's like, wait, he really does? Like they were joking when they walked in. Like he really does? He's really doing this? Yeah. Turn on the damn YouTube, and then pull up YouTube.
They were like, Brian's full of crap with everything else he said. We just assumed that this was
right.
Yeah,
exactly. It's like, he's really doing it? I'm like, well, I'm not like, there's a visual aspect to the show. I know not a whole lot of people watch it, but we're going to get there.
You're actually just throwing up after you eat.
Well, that was yesterday. Bro, I still don't know what happened to me yesterday, man. That was brutal. Yeah, hesitancy is understandable. I mean, I got vaccinated 3 months later, grew a third nipple. That's how mRNA works.
Yeah?
Yeah. Yep. The N in mRNA stands for nipple.
Nipple?
Yeah.
Nipple art?
Yeah. Weirdly enough, the third one's on my belly.
I figured, like right above the belly button.
Yeah. It's
you got two eyes,
because
a nose, and a mouth.
the A stands for abs, so it's nipple abs.
Okay.
Yeah. It's that's how they do it, man. They put that morphed DNA in you.
So it just pops up like quickly.
Yep.
Rapid nipple labs.
Rapid nipple labs. That's right.
It is.
Yeah. Mutated nipple labs. That's what mRNA stands for.
All I'm saying is this is science right here, man.
Woo!
We'll talk about doing your own research.
I did my own damn research. Mutated rapid nipple labs. You're not getting this on other news talk stations. That's
absolutely not.
That's probably talk about Rand Paul getting a week suspension from YouTube. Yeah. Well, because he said that masks provide zero effectiveness in stopping the transmission of the disease, and that's not accurate. Nothing like me holding my hand in front of my face provides some deterrent. I mean, put on a mask and try to blow out a birthday candle. Which, by the way, the governor's birthday, I want to see if they do it this year. YouTube, this is just for y'all. You ready for this? Last year on the governor's birthday, he blew out his candles. I texted his press person. I'm like, y'all missed a serious opportunity here. Try to blow out the birthday candles. If you're trying to show the effectiveness of a mask, have the governor blow out his birthday candles with his mask on. Because he can't do it. You can't, like, if you try to blow out... Yeah. Yeah. No. If you put on a mask and try to blow out a candle, it's just not going to work. If you want to talk about the effectiveness of masks, that's a great video op right there. Put on the mask, try to blow out the candle, and then take off the mask and just go and just spittle all over the place.
There's a YouTube ad here, and this guy's last name is Murphy. Not Murphy.
Yeah, like the Surgeon General? Vivek Murthy, yeah, he's the U.S. Surgeon General.
That's like Mike Tyson pronouncing Murphy.
I had one the other day. I got to find it.
I was like, that's an actual name there.
Scott, did you see the proposed schedule? Yep. Oh, sunny weather says I call them Memphistos. Yes, people from Memphis. Memphistos. That's what sunny winds. That's it. Sunny winds. That's Memphisto.
Talk when I say 3. Yeah, we're going to have you in like 30 seconds. All right, thanks, Bill.
You can delete the weather forecast. Is that?
Don't play the weather.
Yeah, we're not gonna go from the weather to the weather. 837 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Thanks again to Rowdy Guadet for hopping on board, talking about drainage after a flood, which actually brings us right into our next topic. Actually, before we get to that, though, normally coming back in from that bottom of the hour news break, you would hear a weather forecast from meteorologist Marissa Nuzzo. Skipping that right now because there's no reason to go from forecast to forecast as Dr. Josh Eachus, chief meteorologist at WBRZ, joins us now. Josh, how's it going, man?
Hey, doing pretty good, Brian. Doldrums this summer here. I'm counting down to that first tailgate.
Okay, so let's start right there. We're going to have tailgating this year. That's a thing. I don't think the state can say anything about it this year. I think they would just be overrun.
We can't go 2 years without.
It's just an impossibility. It is an impossibility, 100%. So Fred, back down to a tropical depression right now, does not look like it's going to be a problem for us as it stands right now. I was looking at one of the maps that shows all the models at once, and like one guy had it coming our way.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes. And what's happening with that one is these models all, when we look at those charts that you referenced, we call them the spaghetti models, where you see like 10 laid on one. They're all like programmed to run with a different set of conditions. So without getting too heavy into the details, there are a few that literally just extrapolate if it literally continued on its exact same path as it was right now, or if it stayed at its exact same strength as it was right now. And the models that show it drifting a little farther west hold it at its exact same strength it is right now, because a weaker system would tend to be influenced less by the steering currents that are projected to kind of pull it back to the north and northwest and affect the Florida Panhandle. So that's why we always encourage people to focus more on the cone than those models, because the pessimist or the optimist could pick the one that kind of fits their mindset the best.
But that being said, that kind of leaves us, I don't want to say leaves us as part of the target area, but definitely on the periphery.
Yeah, it's not out of the question. I've been mentioning on the air the last few days, it's just still a little too early to completely write it off here.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, until we're 2-3 days away, I would say we want to wait on completely writing it off in Louisiana. But the scenario would be now, if it can make it to Louisiana, we're likely looking at a poorly organized depression or weaker system.
Okay. And as Fred is expected to return to tropical storm strength, by later today or tomorrow?
It could actually take until Saturday or Sunday. It's not healthy at all right now. I think a lot of people also just kind of look beyond the fact that you think, tropical oceans, there are no mountains out there. But Hispaniola and the Dominican Republic have some very high terrain, and it just moved across those islands. That did not help it. There's some wind shear working on the system there. That did not help it. It's in very poor health. The center is exposed and open, which is, the nerve center, the heart of the system. All the showers and storms are on the southeastern side. It is moving away from land, but it's still encountering shear that's a little bit too strong for organization of a tropical system, and that will likely work against the warmer water it's working with. So it may be until it reaches a slightly more favorable environment between Florida and Cuba, or maybe the southeastern Gulf of Mexico on Saturday, before we see the system start to get its act back together.
Over the weekend is what we'd be looking at, and probably landfall in Florida by overnight into Monday morning.
That is about the timeline we're targeting right now. Yeah.
Okay. You mentioned the warm water of the Gulf of Mexico. How are we looking right now when it comes to, historically speaking, is the Gulf warmer than usual? Not so much?
It's on par. It's not. We don't see anything anomalous right now. Temperatures are running into the middle 80s, which is plenty sufficient for tropical systems to feed off of. And we're still at a time of year where it will continue to warm. There's a bit of a lag from the hottest time of the year to the highest water temperatures, the same way that there's a lag in, high noon is when the sun's, peaking over our area, but the hottest time of the day tends to be 2 or 3 o'clock. Same works with warming around the planet and the waters and things like that. So that lag will suggest that we'll continue to see the waters warming up until into the month of September.
Dr. Josh Eachus, Chief Meteorologist at WBRZ, is our guest. We're talking about now tropical depression, Fred. Should be tropical storm, Fred, again by the weekend. Josh, I want to ask you to step away from Fred for just a second, though, because there's another yellow X on the National Hurricane Center's map in the middle of the Atlantic. Have we been able to pay any attention to that yet, or has it been all eyes on Fred?
I'm keeping an eye on that one, too. We're suspicious of any little wave and then, X on the map when we get into this time of year. And that one looks like it will take a fairly similar trajectory as Fred and end its way over the Leeward Islands and eventually the Caribbean Islands. And that's about as far out as our guidance and, the predictable steering patterns can take us to this point. That would still be 5-6 days away. So Fred will likely be inland and dissipated by the time this one gets to the point Fred is right now. And I don't see any major alarms at the moment suggesting that we need to worry about this one, but way too early to make any kind of solid prediction on that. But let's just say there are not any rumors on social media from one crazy model even suggesting that Louisiana is an option right now. But, that doesn't mean because there's not a rumor it can't come here. So we're watching it. We're suspicious of all of these, and we'll have several threats over the next several weeks for sure. We've dealt with this, year in, year out, just looking to not repeat the action we saw last year.
That's actually exactly where I was going next. This is about the time of year last year where it was X after X after X after X. And since the National Hurricane Center is predicting still an above-average hurricane season, should we be expecting that, say, between now and a month from now?
I can't see us repeating 2020 because the breakneck pace we were on last year, we're already well behind that. When we got to Elsa several weeks ago in early July, we actually had broken the record for the earliest named E-storm on record.
Yeah.
But that occurred, beating the 2020 E-storm by a few days. And then after that, we racked up F and I and H and J, and it just didn't stop. And there was not this long. It's been 6 to 7 weeks now since we've had a named system before Fred. We did not have that long break in 2020. So we've already fallen way behind in terms of that pace. But we still have historically 88% of tropical activity left if you just look at an average year. So we've barely scratched the surface as to the time in the year as to when tropical activity really starts to pick up.
Seasonally, we feel like everything's gotten kind of a late start this year. Does that mean it's going to last longer?
Can't really say on that.
Okay.
And I wouldn't expect much going on in November as is usual. Last year, even in the busiest season on record, by mid-November, things started to quiet down. I think there in my experience here in the last 7 years, this is anecdotal. I don't know that there's much science to this, but you tend to get your peak of the season in September, and then there's a bit of a lull, and activity starts to transfer to occurring in the Caribbean Sea, and development gets a little bit closer to the States. And you get some of those raggedy late-season storms. Just when you think hurricane season's over, October usually has a surprise or two for us.
Absolutely. You mentioned it's been 6 to 7 weeks since the last named storm. It's hard to believe it's been that long since we were making jokes about Frozen.
That's right. And, we're thankful for it. Me and the weather team were just talking about this the other day, is how exhausting it was for us that once we got out of severe weather season and May started, we got your early season storms, and there were so few periods where there wasn't at least one named system out in the basin. And there got to be times in August and September where we'd have 3 or 4 at once, and you'd no sooner catch your breath from one coming to Louisiana and the next one comes. We dealt with 5 named storms in our state last year. So far this year, it's only been the one, and it was very forgettable Cristobal earlier this year.
I forgot about Cristobal.
Oh,
Wow.
sorry, that was 2 years ago. Claudette was earlier this year.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
C would be a female. Yep. While I got you here, local forecast. What are we looking at over the next couple days here?
Very, very, very rinse and repeat. Control C, Control V, copy paste, whatever phrase you would like to use. I think the only little difference you might be able to detect, and that's if you're really paying attention to the weather and looking at the radar on your app every day, is that over the weekend and early next week, we might see more and more storms popping up, meaning, technically at any given location, you have a slightly better chance, or as we say, there'll be more coverage in the forecast area of showers and storms, but they should follow the same routine of mainly being between about noon and 6.
Yeah.
Heat and humidity is going to stick with us. As long as Fred stays to the east, Monday, Tuesday, our forecast doesn't change at all from the way it's been. If we want to take a little peek past the 7-day, chance we could get into another kind of hotter and not as rainy stretch by the end of next week, kind of similar to what we had a few weeks ago.
Yesterday's rain was nice, man. Went out for a run yesterday afternoon after the rain was over with. It was nice and cool outside.
Yeah, they do help in that regard. They get your attention. A lot of lightning, a lot of downpours, kind of mess up that drive sometimes. But if your area is one of the ones that gets those showers, 7 to 9 o'clock is not a terrible time out there.
No, it was. In fact, it was right at 7 o'clock, and it was fantastic. And in the meanwhile, we always appreciate the update. We always appreciate the information. Dr. Josh Eachus, thank you so much, man.
We'll talk to you soon, Brian. Take care.
We'll talk to you soon. We haven't talked to him that much this year, as opposed to last year where he was on the station as much as you and I were, Taylor.
Downstairs, I think.
He did. It was rotating between he and Marissa and Jake, and just had him running through all the time. But it is a nice reprieve to not have to go through that this year. We got Your Money Now coming your way in just over a minute. Enough time for me to tell you about the folks over at Mathern's Market. They've got 2 locations. You know about the one downtown on 3rd Street. You also know about the one on Nicholson, but you know everything that Nicholson has to offer. Nicholson at Skip Urban Drive. It's the Nicholson Gateway Shopping Center. It's right across the street from Tiger Stadium, and it is back to school time, which means students are going to be moving in on campus within the next week or so. Well, I tell you what, can't have a full kitchen in your dorm room, but you can swing by Mathern's and grab the dorm fridges or the smaller appliances like an air fryer, a convection oven, that sort of thing. When you're moving back in on campus, make sure you're swinging by Mathern's. When you're moving your kids in on campus, make sure you're swinging by Mathern's on Nicholson at Skip Burtman Drive. And, oh, by the way, it's a full-service grocery store. Download the app. Get your grocery shopping done without having to put on a mask and go inside. Download the app. Do your grocery shopping before you even leave work in the afternoon. Pop in the parking lot. They bring it out to you, and you are right on your way. But, yeah, back to school time. Need that dorm fridge? Need that little convection oven? Need a little toaster oven? Whatever the case might be as you move your kids into the dorm, they've got you covered over at Mathern's. And maybe grab a salad. Maybe grab sushi. Maybe grab one of those steak quesadillas. Whatever they got going on that particular day at their lunch counter. Mathern's, Nicholson at Skip Burman Drive, and, of course, downtown on 3rd Street. Hey, get you to Your Money Now in just a second. I do need to tell you about the app. Download the Talk 107.3 mobile app presented by Gregory Ricks and Associates. You can listen live. You can listen on demand. Gregory Ricks and Associates bringing you the Talk 107.3 mobile app. All right, Your Money Now. One more check of traffic, then we're closing it out next on Talk 107.3. ESPN.com.
What are you looking up?
Tigers playing tonight. All right.
I was gonna say, just like you can also go to like.
Is there any reason that they just is it like 2 different? Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. If I'm only gonna hear.
Damn it. All right, ESPN, you suck. Okay, well. LSU Sports. I was supposed to do this like an hour ago.
Oh, you still hit me on that.
Yeah, I know. Foosball. Please tell me they've updated. Yeah, it is.
Who's playing what team?
Get you some. What? Football is playing the Patriots. And the Steelers are playing the Eagles.
Okay, Eagles has
Um,
Kobe Stevens. I don't think they do. Yeah.
Jalen Mills. Yeah, Jalen Mills is still listed. Well, this is from LSUsports.net. So, all right. Tayshawn Bauer, New England.
Okay. Guess who Jalen Mills is with? The Patriots. Oh, he does play tonight.
Okay.
Jalen Mills was one of those free agent corners that Sean Payton didn't want to pick up.
Especially with P-Rod retiring. Not that I was trusting P-Rod.
You know what sucks?
What?
He would have got so much backlash for doing it because of the infamous them call. A couple weeks ago, they were talking about trying to sign a free agent corner. You know who's available? Who's actually a good corner? Rowdy was available. And I was like,
Or as Terrio calls him, Nickel Robbie.
Yeah, and I was like, he's a good corner, but I was like, they couldn't do it. So I was looking at free agent corners. I was like, all right, who's not old as hell that can play? And I saw
I
Nikel
don't even
Roby.
care if they're old as hell.
I saw Nikel Roby Coleman's name on there, and I was like,
See, Jalen Mills is in
New England.
New England now? Okay.
That's what it says on his NFL bio.
All right. Duke Riley, Philadelphia.
Yep.
Football!
Football team's playing the Patriots. Yeah, but which football team?
Sadiq.
Oh, yeah,
He's hurt, but I'm counting him anyway. All right, well, that's all I got.
Good thing the Browns aren't playing. They'd be like, what former Tigers playing? All of them.
All of them are. Every damn one. Players.
Okay, what do we got?
Oh, I can't pull up a list of search by college. Go. Shit. 8:56 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. One segment to go here on Mornings with Brian Haldane. Football tonight. There is NFL football tonight, such as it is. So as much as you're going to get in the first week of the preseason. You got football team playing the Patriots.
Wait, which football team?
Football team is playing the Patriots.
Oh, Washington. Okay. I
Yeah,
got you.
Washington.
Oh, yeah.
The Washington Washers will be playing the Patriots, and then Pittsburgh is at Philadelphia. So I tell you what, let's do this in just a minute. I haven't mentioned the folks over at Baton Rouge Mattress Outlet yet. 4065 Florida Boulevard or 18181 Jefferson Highway. That's the corner of Jefferson and Hoosier too. A little shopping center they got right there. Both locations of the Baton Rouge Mattress Outlet offering you fantastic deals, offering you fantastic financing as well. What kind of financing are we talking about here? Well, interest-free for 12 months, no matter what you spend. If you're spending $1,500 or more, you can get interest-free for up to 24 months. Oh, by the way, mention you heard about it here, you get free delivery as well. Mention it was back to school time when it's talking about moving kids into the dorms. If you're moving kids into a new apartment, they're going to need a new mattress. You're going to want to swing by the Baton Rouge Mattress Outlet and get them set up because, well, a good day in the classroom starts with a good night's sleep, and a good night's sleep starts with a good mattress. 4065 Florida Boulevard in Mid-City or the corner of Jefferson and Hoosier 2, either location of the Baton Rouge Mattress Outlet. Once again, mention you heard about it here, you'll get free delivery. All right, football is playing at New England tonight, or Washington's playing at New England tonight. The football team is playing at the Patriots. I'm trying to run down, Taylor, and see how many former Tigers I can find that are going to be in this game. For Washington, I'm seeing Sadiq Charles, but I know he's hurt, right? Pretty sure he's hurt. So Sadiq Charles for Washington. You got Tayshaun Bauer and Jalen Mills on the New England side. I'm running down the list here, not seeing anybody else in that game that I can find. No, that's it for that game. Over in the Pittsburgh-Philadelphia game, Pittsburgh's got former offensive lineman Gerald Hawkins and John Battle. Boy, there's a name that Tiger fans need to remember. John Battle going to be out there for Pittsburgh. On the Philadelphia side, all I'm seeing is Duke Riley. I know I'm missing somebody.
On who?
On either game. I know I'm missing somebody.
Philly?
From Philly, Duke
Jacoby
Riley.
Stevens.
Jacoby Stevens. Okay. How'd I miss that one? Oh, there he is right there. Jacoby Stevens, Philadelphia Eagles. Trey Turner with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I knew I missed that one. I didn't realize he was in Pittsburgh now. I think that's all of them for tonight. It's going to be a busy, busy weekend for former Tigers. It's going to be a busy season for former Tigers. Going to be a lot of fun to follow them. I don't know. You do that? I mean, like once they're not LSU players anymore, you keep following them regardless of where they go in the pros?
Kinda.
Well, I know you do because you're a big Cleveland Browns fan. So it just happens that you've got half the roster.
But I haven't always been a Browns fan.
No. You're a Baker Mayfield fan. I'm just saying you get to fold a number of Tigers into or former Tigers into your world because of that affiliation. Either way, it's football back tonight. Hey, we're done here. Fox News Rundown's coming up next. Guys, Foodie Friday tomorrow presented by the Louisiana Beef Industry Council. Haggai Davis in tomorrow for a cup of tech gumbo. I haven't asked her yet, but Michelle Southern should be on tomorrow as well. She talked with Congresswoman Julia Letlow on her podcast. Same conversation we had last week, but I'm guessing a couple girls get talking. It might get a little more emotional. I mean, is that stereotyping or is that fair? Anyway, we're going to have a lot of fun tomorrow. You're not going to want to miss it. We will see you then. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Please subscribe. We'll see you tomorrow.